Chapter 1001, 1001 It's so exciting to pet the gem cat and run, 3. 1001 It's so exciting to pet the gem cat and run, 3. The gem cat immediately panicked, because the country prohibited life forms above the overlord level from randomly releasing their auras in non-combat venues in cities. At this moment, it probably made several associations feel like they were facing a great enemy. In order to not cause turmoil in the various cities, the gem cat was so scared that it hurriedly restrained its strength and slipped back into the alternate space dejectedly. It spatially jumped into Shiyu's villa. At the same time, Shiyu's communicator sounded almost immediately. From the association headquarters, President Lin. Shiyu, what happened in Pingcheng? You're in Pingcheng, right? It reached the headquarters so quickly. Tilda beside him, the gem cat widened its eyes and whispered. It's nothing. I just gave the inheritance crystal of the 9-color divine light to the guardian, Teacher Ying. It just broke through. On the other side, President Lin's expression turned cold. You actually gave the inheritance crystal of the 9-color divine light to the guardian Ying? President Lin's first thought was that it was a huge loss. His second thought was to forget it. After all, it belonged to Shiyu. It was up to Shiyu to give it to whoever he wanted. The guardian Ying was also a part of Dong Huang. At the same time, President Lin couldn't help but be surprised by Shiyu's generosity. This was an inheritance that could be said to be a divine-level resource. He actually gave it away just like that. It's good that nothing else happened. Looks like Teacher Ying's gains are pretty good. Congratulations to her for me. Also, how's your rest? I've almost recovered from my restoration. President Lin, do you have any quests? No, I just want to ask you what you think of the next world competition. Did you obtain any relevant information about the next world tournament and more information about mythical revival from the world tree? Shiyu said, no. The world tree isn't sure of the next competition time either. Is that so? President Lin fell into deep thought and said, but speaking of which, did you say back then that you wanted to exchange for other resources for the Soul Pearl of the Archaeological Conference? Have you thought about what resources to exchange for? Yes, Shiyu said. I want to change to a Sharp's Metal Stats resource, but after returning, I searched the resource bank and didn't find anything suitable. This, on the other side, President Lin said, at the moment, Dong Huang indeed doesn't have metal element resources of a similar nature. But wait a while. I can see if I can buy it from other countries. Actually, there's no hurry. If you don't have it either, forget it. Shiyu chuckled. I happen to have a goal too. Oh? President Lin was stunned. Tell me, I'll see if Dong Huang can help you obtain it. The information I found on the Intelligence Bureau Index seems to be that there's a suitable divine-level metal material in the ruins of the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation. I like that one. I feel that it's better than legendary resources. President Lin? What? The Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation was an island country. The humans inside were similar to the Heavenly Fox Nation. It was the second largest race, a demigod-level totem faction. It was at the border between the East and West. Because it was beaten very badly by Dong Huang and the Seven Islands in the last totem battle, it had been in seclusion all year round. In addition, due to the national situation, like Dragon Palace City, it didn't respond to this world competition. The mechanism of the ruins of this country was trials and inheritances. It was naturally an important place. Shiyu had targeted this place. He regretted sending a spy here to collect information. This directly hooked Shiyu over. How could this be? President Lin said, what do you want to do? Shiyu said, cough, cough. Shiyu wanted to find metal resources, but he was actually preparing to give them to Kai Tong as evolution materials. After he taught Kai Tong's soul incarnation, every clone could be cultivated individually and needed a large number of cultivation resources. Shiyu's idea was to nurture Kai Tong's clone according to the template of the Immortal Slaying for swords. The Immortal Slaying sword had endless changes. Shiyu planned to use the spatial resources, the Heart Flame and the Spirit World Fragment, to nurture it. Coupled with other spatial resources, he would specialize in array skills in the future. Red light rose everywhere on the immortal trapping sword. Shiyu planned to nurture it into a fire element sword. The immortal slaying sword represented death. Shiyu planned to let it specialize in the power of undead. As for the final immortal slaying sword, it represented interest. It definitely needed metal element resources. Shiyu recalled that he still had the life flame that could help undead shape their entities. He couldn't help but have the thought of turning a clone into a metal element sharp immortal sword. As a sword spirit, it naturally had to have a physical sword to possess it to display its strongest power. Shiyu's first goal was the divine level metal of this totem country. If he couldn't get it, it would depend on whether Dong Huang could find a suitable one. If not, he would let 11 create one. However, although 11's creation was not bad, it was inferior to legendary resources, let alone divine level resources. Shiyu felt that if it evolved and wasn't strong enough, its racial potential definitely couldn't catch up to 11 and the others. It was still the legendary divine level metal element meteor iron that looked fragrant. If it was given to Kai Tong to evolve, it might be able to evolve into a mythical race. Didn't the information say that this ruin of the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation is also a trial ruin? Moreover, the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation opens it to the geniuses of the various large factions in the country every year. So I want to go over and take a look and see if I can participate. I'll take out the divine level resources inside. The records on it are quite comprehensive. This ruin only tests the candidate's Sword Dao talent. I feel that we can give it a try. Chapter 1002, 1002 It's so exciting to pet the gem cat and run, 4. 1002 It's so exciting to pet the gem cat and run, 4. Is that the problem? President Lin couldn't help but say. You've just become famous in the world tournament, and you're going to the demigod territory? Shiyu said, I can use my control talent to change my form. As long as I infiltrate a large faction, obtain a participation spot, and successfully enter the ruins, no matter the outcome, I can instantly leave that country with the Blue Sea ruins. President Lin, don't worry. I've already broken through to the legend level and am about to have a whole team of Overlord. I definitely have to digest the inheritance of the world tournament and have enough strength before going. I won't move for the time being. Shiyu planned to wait until all the Overlords had almost fused their skills and the second beast taming space was almost opened up before going. After all, Kai Tong's skills had yet to be taught, so what was the hurry to nurture resources? President Lin was stunned. He had already broken through to the legend level? Let me think. He fell into deep thought. Indeed, Shiyu was no longer the child who still needed protection. With Shiyu's strength, he was probably good enough to steadily rank in the top 5 in Dong Huang. In this situation, in addition to the BUG teleportation ability of the Blue Sea ruins, Shiyu might not necessarily be unable to escape even if he faced a demigod. In the end, President Lin gave up persuading him and said, then choose 2 other legendary resources from the resource bank to increase your strength. In addition, if you want to leave the country, you have to tell me in advance. No problem, Shiyu said. No way, you're going out to play again. The gem cat, who had just broken through, looked at Shiyu nervously. What did it just say? As long as Shiyu didn't let it fight a demigod, anything was fine. But why was Shiyu going to the demigod territory to wreak havoc in the ruins in the blink of an eye? Hey, Teacher Ying, you want to go too? Shiyu said. I can go too. With my current strength, I should be able to easily protect you below the demigod level, the gem cat said with a long sigh. Actually, I can go myself. Teacher Cat, help me do a few things first. Shiyu chuckled. He took out 3 things, the ruins ring, the ruins bracelet, and the control talent bead. The gem cat was stunned. What? This ruin ring belongs to Bureau 11. I don't need it anymore. Help me pass it to Principal Feng. This was the plant ruin that Baby Ginseng had previously used to farm. There were already many crops such as the phoenix fruit, reincarnation fruit, and soul heart fruit, but now, as his beast-taming space blessed by the World Tree reached level 7, this was no longer needed. It was better to farm directly in his beast-taming space. It was time to return it to its owner. As for this talent control bead, I don't need it anymore. Leave it to Senior Lu. Now that Shiyu had awakened his control talent, this was useless. He hoped that Senior Lu could rely on this to develop abilities similar to the mind domain. If there was no progress, he would give it to Senior Whitebrook to see if she could develop a top-notch fusion talent. In short, there were many uses. The blessings of the next world tournament depended on them. As for this Ruin Ring, give it to Senior Lu too. Let her pass it to Fang Lan when she's free and let her use it in Bureau 11. That's it? The Gem Cat was stunned. It thought it was something big, but it turned out to be a delivery. No, delivery? Damn it. What else is there to give, the Gem Cat said. There's one more thing you have to take good care of. Shiyu chuckled and said, help me send the Demon King Dragon Bone to Mother Dragon in Dragon Palace City and say that it's the return on its last investment. The Gem Cat? Demon King Dragon Bone? That divine level evolution material? What investment? I want to invest too, it immediately said. Go, go, go. Didn't I already give you the legendary crystal of the 9-colored divine light? This is a gift to thank Teacher Ying. What else do you want? Ah. It's all right, it's all right. The Gem Cat grinned. Well, not bad, very filial. By the way, Teacher Ying. Look, a flying saucer. The Gem Cat was stunned and immediately turned to look out the window. In the next moment, it felt Shiyu rubbing its body from head to toe. Shiyu had almost forgotten. He had yet to replicate the 9-colored divine light and immediately operated it. The Gem Cat suddenly turned around and looked at Shiyu, who had slipped away, in extreme anger. Bastard kid, what are you doing? Chapter 1003, 1003 Target, Heavenly Sword Nation. 1003 Target, Heavenly Sword Nation. After Shiyu successfully replicated the 9-colored divine light from the Gem Cat was furious. Bold. Did he not know what it meant to respect one's master? Although their batch of cats had been sent to Ancient Capital University as pets for the teachers and students to pet, what was its identity now? It was angry. The Gem Cat looked down at the Ruins Ring, Ruins Bracelet, and Talent Bead Shiyu had thrown down and became angry. This guy, it won't deliver for him anymore. However, to its surprise, Shiyu suddenly crawled back from the ruined space with a calm expression. The Gem Cat? Teacher Ying, there's one more thing I need your help with. The Gem Cat? After you're done with these things, if you're free, help me go to Inatella to take a look. That ancient god Golden Bull still owes me a reward. Shiyu was also angry. If Inatella doesn't open it, wait a little longer. If it's open, go and see if the World Tree and ancient god Golden Bull are awake. If it woke up, help me urge the debt and inform me. The Gem Cat? If the debt is urged, I'll give you a share. You can let your clone go. With Teacher Ying's current strength, it shouldn't be difficult to do. The Gem Cat, deal. Sigh. Shiyu sighed. If ancient god Golden Bull could awaken in a short period of time and obtain the divine level metal element resources it needed, Shiyu didn't plan to go to the Totem Country to play. Although he was indeed interested in ruins and resources, there were risks after all. Of course, Shiyu felt that the greatest reason why he went out to have fun might still be because he couldn't stay. He wondered how long he could last this time. Shiyu and the Gem Cat happily made the decision to harm their clones and guard the island. Then, Shiyu continued to wreak havoc in Dong Huang's resource bank. After he handed over the divine level resource, the Soul Pearl, President Lin chose to let him casually choose 2 legendary resources to strengthen his strength. President Lin should have just said it casually because he knew that Shiyu really didn't lack resources at the moment. However, Shiyu still looked at it seriously. He planned to choose a legendary resource for Susu and Ling to use to break through to the Overlord level. In the end, Shiyu chose two relatively simple legendary resources with the most common effects for Susu and Ling. Level 9 Ice and Wind Energy Crystals. They were all pure strengthening type resources that could increase one's own stats energy. It wasn't that he didn't want a better one, but that there was nothing more suitable. Recently, the consumption of high-level resources in Donghuang had been very serious. Most of the more precious legendary resources were in the hands of individuals, and there weren't many choices left in the National Resource Bank. However, although these two resources were basic, they were enough to strengthen Monarch level and Overlord level pets. It could easily strengthen a Monarch to the Overlord level and strengthen an ordinary Overlord to a top-notch Overlord. After applying, Shiyu waited for the officials to deliver it to his door. Next, I'll continue to work overtime. By the window, the wind blew in, making Shiyu's hair sway messily. He took a deep breath and turned around to return to the ruins with a determined expression. 2 months later. In the past 2 months, Shiyu had invested all his points in the skill fusion. Even if it was meditation, it didn't take much time to do it. It relied on Little Purple's automatic EXP package. In the past 2 months, there had been a lot of things, but Shiyu basically didn't participate much. At the celebration banquet of the World Tournament, he only ate and drank with Senior Lu and other familiar faces. He didn't even appear when the demigod factions like the Endless Sea and the Ghost Sea came to form an alliance. He handed them all to President Lin and the others to deal with. There were also many other things related to Shiyu. On the surface, Donghuang had a new festival, the Green Dragon Festival. After the World Tournament ended, the country didn't directly say that Shiyu had cultivated a green dragon. Instead, it planned to subtly arouse people's faith in the Green Dragon. Therefore, apart from some higher-ups and spectators of the World Tournament, not many ordinary beast tamers knew that Shiyu had cultivated a green dragon. It was better to maintain a mysterious and noble feeling for the gods they believed in. Apart from that, the new National League ended. As Shiyu didn't participate, Ancient Capital University couldn't get first place with their results this time, but they were also ranked in the top 3. The name of the fusion genius and Chang, who controlled the Sea Dragon, spread. In the Donghuang Recruit Martial Arts Tournament, the 9 Li Battle Beast Army led by Lin Xiushu also obtained first place in the entire army's new Army Martial Arts Tournament. Their next goal was to challenge Yixing's Star Army. On Dragon Palace City's side, Dragon Mother, who had obtained divine-level resources, even evolved into a Frost Demon Dragon. Just like the Gem Cat, she mixed into the strength of a top-notch totem and had a chance of reaching the divine level, becoming a tyrant in Dragon Palace City. The Touched Dragon Mother took the initiative to be the Green Dragon Promotion Ambassador of Dragon Palace City and nurture believers in place of Shiyu and Buggy. Most importantly, Shiyu had also gained a lot after cultivating bitterly for 3 months. Firstly, Susu and Ling also used perfect proficiency skills, legendary resources, and Overlord resistance to break through to the Overlord level. At this point, all the members of Team 1 had reached Overlord. As for Little Z, although it was contracted in the first beast taming space, clearly, Shiyu had yet to treat it as a teammate. Because its will level was too low. Even with the strengthening of the 9-colored Divine Light, it couldn't teach super skills at all. Chapter 1004, 1000 for Target, Heavenly Sword Nation, 2. 1000 for Target, Heavenly Sword Nation, 2. Therefore, after 2 months of cultivation, it only reached Commander rank. Shiyu's cultivation focus was temporarily not on it. Moreover, Little Z was still a baby. It should have a happy childhood. In the past 2 months, Shiyu's greatest gains were 11 and the others' skills. 11, Buggy, Baby Ginseng, Kai Tong, Susu, Ling, and the others had almost all their skills fused by Shiyu. At this moment, there were almost no low, intermediate, or high-level skills on them. They all held several super top-notch skills. Moreover, the proficiency of these super top-notch skills was all perfect. Only a few special high-level skills that were difficult to fuse, such as the Time Fruit and the Memory Water, were still left. For the time being, there were no suitable fusion targets. In fact, Shiyu still wanted to continue fusing, but the remaining super skills were all extremely strong super skills. the success rate of fusing with other super skills was extremely low. For example, Buggy's Green Dragon Roar, Dragon Raising Its Head, Multiplication, Absolute Sleep, Super Sight, High Speed Healing, Heart Strike, Deterrence, and a bunch of other skills were fused by Xiyu into Faith Physique Skill, Green Dragon Indestructible Body. This physique skill could be said to be awesome to the point of explosion. Without relying on other abilities, 11's individual demon god body could only be crushed in front of the Green Dragon Indestructible Body. This skill was the same as Seuss's Blue Sea contract. It was really too difficult to continue fusing with other super top-notch skills. Perhaps the skill proficiency was insufficient. Perhaps the success rate of fusion would be higher after reaching Transcendent. It was also possible that Xiyu's physique and pet's will were failing again and needed to continue breaking through. But no matter what, it couldn't continue fusing. However, Xiyu felt that if the remaining skills could be fused, they would definitely be quasi-divine skills. For example, what if the power of the Starry Sky and the Blue Sea contract fused into a Star Sea contract? Therefore, Xiyu could be said to be both regretful and looking forward to it. At the moment, he had laid the foundation. It was up to the subsequent divine level fusion. After completing the fusion, there were not many choices waiting for Xiyu. First, replicate more skills and continue fusing. Second, adding points to the fused super skill, the target was close to Transcendent. Third, meditation cultivation. Fourth, add points to quasi-divine skills. Firstly, Xiyu had to give up. His skill proficiency had yet to be maxed out, so it was useless to have so many skills. Fourthly, it was because of the success rate of adding points to quasi-divine skills. The skill index also showed that it was extremely low, so Xiyu did not dare to take that risk for the time being. Therefore, in the end, Xiyu chose to add some super skills to them. Then, he meditated and cultivated the first and second beast taming space. As for the cultivation results, they were also gratifying. Although it didn't take much time, Xiyu still cultivated the second beast taming space to level 4. At the level of high-level beast tamers. Under normal circumstances, he could contract a commander-level pet. However, with Xiyu's current physique, it was definitely not a problem for him to contract a monarch above his level in the second space. However, it was more dangerous for overlords. After all, if their physiques could withstand it, the space was difficult to withstand. 2 months was actually not long. The strength of the entire team had increased greatly. However, at this moment, Xiyu finally couldn't sit still anymore. He was tired of it. He didn't want to add points, he didn't want to fuse, he didn't want to cultivate. For people like him who couldn't stay, it was similar to the past. Cultivating bitterly for 2 months was almost the limit. If he continued to hold on, his mental state would reduce Xiyu's efficiency in various aspects to an extremely low level. With no news of ancient god Golden Bull from teacher Gemcat for a long time, Xiyu had already planned to head to the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation to explore the ruins to take a breather and relax. He could also train the second team and prepare for Kai Tong's evolution. At the moment, the Soul Incarnation had also been taught and upgraded to perfect level. Kai Tong's clones were ready. They were just short of being nurtured and fused to evolve. It was time for Xiyu to find resources. The Heavenly Sword ruins of the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation was his hunting target. "Master, when are we leaving?" Ling said. "There's still half a year until the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation sword trial. There's plenty of time. It's not too sufficient anymore. After all, we still have to sneak into other factions and obtain the participation spot. That ruin is at the demigod's house. We definitely can't barge in forcefully. We can only enter normally in disguise," Xiyu said. Xiyu held the vanilla in his mouth and continued, "I'll go out and tell President Lin. He seems to have said to tell him when I go out. Go and take a look at Little G, Ducky, and the others. I'll go over later. The main force next is them." "All right." Secretary Ling quickly flew over. At the same time, Xiyu called President Lin. "President Lin, I plan to go to the Heavenly Sword Ancient Kingdom." "President Lin? On the other side, President Lin was stunned. Wait a minute, didn't you say that you wouldn't move for the time being and would set off after you were strong? Only 2 months had passed since the world competition. You plan to go now? President Lin looked confused. By the way, are you confident? He said worriedly. Don't worry, I'm still 80 to 90% confident. Shi Yu smiled. Recently, he had studied the information about the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation to death. The Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation was inherited from the Totem era. The origin was a demigod-level undead. Chapter 1005, 1005 Target, Heavenly Sword Nation, 3. 1005 Target, Heavenly Sword Nation, 3. This undead demigod was the pet of a human beast tamer when it was young. It was born in a sword and was a sword soul. After the death of the human beast tamer, this sword soul established itself as a king and continued to pursue the sword Dao wholeheartedly. In the end, it grew into a demigod. Moreover, he called himself the Heavenly Sword and established the Heavenly Sword Nation. He welcomed all races to join and seek the sword Dao together. This was the origin of the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation. Because of the power of the Heavenly Sword, the development of the Heavenly Sword Nation at the start was indeed not bad. Countless royal swordsmen and transcendent lives who had mastered sword-type skills had joined the Sword Dao family of the Heavenly Sword Nation. Until when this demigod died, it placed its lifetime of Sword Dao EXP and the many natural treasures that could be used to forge famous swords and divine swords into an inheritance trial ruin it had built. After that, the development of the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation became better and better around this inheritance trial ruin. At the moment, after thousands of years of development, apart from the most precious divine-level metal element meteorite iron that no one had the talent potential to take away, there were no more materials left in this Heavenly Sword ruins. There was only a large amount of Sword Dao EXP for sustainable inheritance. Although the resources had already been taken away, these Sword Dao inheritances were also rare resources. The ruins had not been abandoned, but had always been worshipped as a holy land to nurture the geniuses of the Heavenly Sword Nation. Every year, this country would hold a sword trial around the Heavenly Sword ruins. Through the potential and strength of the Sword Dao talent, they competed to see who was more qualified to enter the Heavenly Sword ruins and seek a deeper Sword Dao inheritance. That's right, a sword competition. This country was very strange. Almost all the lives in the country used swords. The human class could generally be divided into Imperial Swordsman and Beast Tamer. Imperial Swordsmen were human beast tamers who contracted undead sword spirits, sword souls, and sword ghosts and let them possess them to fight themselves. As for beast tamers, they were different from traditional beast tamers of various countries. Their pets, or rather, all the transcendent lives and pets in the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation basically used swords. They had all mastered various sword skills. This was the result of generations of inheritance. As for the most important activities in this country, the Sword Trial Conference and the Heavenly Sword Ruins Trial also required beast tamers to only use sword-type moves to fight. Among them, in the Sword Trial Conference, beast tamers who had reached a certain rank could enter the Heavenly Sword Ruins to undergo stronger trials. If their performance was outstanding, they had a chance to obtain the Sword Dao inheritance of the Heavenly Sword Demigod. Shi Yu had clearly targeted this ruin. Moreover, he wasn't just targeting the Sword Dao inheritance. He wanted to sneak into the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation and participate in this Sword Trial Conference. He wanted to enter the ruins and obtain the divine-level resource that no one could obtain until now. Even in the future, sword-type demigods didn't obtain the recognition of the Heavenly Sword Demigod. It was obvious how difficult this final resource was. Probably no one in the current beast tamer of the Heavenly Sword Nation wanted that. However, after deep understanding, Shi Yu realized that he might have a chance. He had even passed the trial of a bunch of gods, so why would he be afraid of a mere demigod's test? This ruin relied on testing the talent potential of the person who entered to provide a reward. At the moment, Shi Yu had already maxed out Kai Tong's Sword Dao resistance and fused it with other skills into a super sword body. If such a Sword Dao talent possessed him and activated the Taiji domain to use the interlocking sword, it should be unique even if it wasn't the most unique. It wasn't too much to take away a divine-level metal with a top-notch divine-level sword Dao, right? At that time, with the divine-level metal resource and the demigod sword Dao inheritance in hand, Kai Tong should have evolved perfectly. Of course, under the eyes of the demigods and totems of the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation, Shiyu definitely couldn't expose Kai Tong at the trial conference before entering the ruins. He couldn't expose his beast-taming level and identity. After all, the identity of a world legend was too conspicuous. Even without these, just the legend level was too dazzling in the totem country. Young legends were almost as rare as phoenix feathers and Chilean horns. There was definitely a problem with one suddenly appearing. After being exposed, it was impossible to easily enter the Heavenly Sword ruins guarded by a demigod. However, it wasn't like Shiyu had no other choice. Shiyu planned to use the second beast-taming space to contract Little G and Ducky. As a beast swordsman, he would infiltrate a faction and participate in the sword trial. He would use the second team to quietly obtain a relatively normal ranking and obtain the opportunity to enter the Heavenly Sword ruins. Ducky, Little G, and the others also knew how to use swords. Little G's space-splitting sword and Ducky's water blade. This way, no matter how simple it was, it wouldn't arouse the suspicion of the current demigods of the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation. Of course, Chi also knew how to use a sword, but as for it, the elves were too obvious. There were no elves in the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation. In addition, before going, he had to let Ling modify Little G. The mechanical dragon of the Overlord race was still conspicuous. It was not bad to become an ordinary earth dragon. It was also a local special pet. As for Ducky, it was even easier. Although it had appeared in Inatella and exposed its duckbill beast form and abyss demon duck form, the duckbill beast that had mastered the water blade was also a mainstream pet of the Heavenly Sword Nation. It wouldn't attract attention at all. Moreover, it wasn't difficult for the duck to evolve into an excessive form before evolving into the abyss demon duck. Shiyu could say that it had already been set up. When he entered the ruins as a high-level beast-tamer or master-level beast-tamer genius, without the supervision of a demigod, he could unscrupulously summon Kai Tong to attack the ruins. After obtaining the divine-level resource, he would directly escape through the Blue Sea ruins after coming out. Perfect! Is it really all right? President Lin was silent. If Shiyu was only going to a demigod faction to travel, he wouldn't be worried. However, Shiyu was going to snatch divine-level resources under the nose of a demigod. No problem. I still have Senior Dragon God's demigod protection, Shiyu said. It's unsolvable with the teleportation of the Blue Sea ruins. Senior Dragon God and Senior Divine Source have already confirmed it. All right then. At this point, President Lin had nothing to say. But we have no foundation in the Heavenly Sword Nation. When you go there, you have to be careful. When do you plan to set off? In the next 2 days, Shiyu said. He planned to nurture Little G and Ducky first. Just like Little Purple, he didn't care much about these two guys. Moreover, although his second beast-taming space had reached level 4, he hadn't contracted a single life form. It was time to choose one. Chapter 1006, 1006 Contracting the Second Team. 1006 Contracting the Second Team. Legendary Ruins. In the deep space. As the second team's Little G, Ducky, Chi, Little Purple, and the others were currently too weak, their states were easily affected by the first team's training, so their residences were separated from the first team. At this moment, Ling followed Shiyu's command and ran over to see the situation of the second team. As Little Z was still a baby, it ate, drank, and played all day. It flew in midair to watch Little G, Ducky, and Chi get beaten up. Little G and Ducky were still challenging a team of illusions. Little G used a team of illusions to train its willpower and skill proficiency. As for Ducky, it used a team of illusions to train its control over the power of the abyss. Ever since they joined the team, although they had never added points, their strength had also improved extraordinarily under the cultivation of the scientific system. For example, Little G's will level had already reached medium resistance. Perhaps because it was relatively simple-minded and had an extremely clear goal of being the overlord of the earth, the speed at which it increased its resistance was surprisingly fast. Next was Ducky, who could already control the abyssal power brought by the Abyss Reincarnation Bean. Both parties were at the stage where they could break through to the monarch level at any time and accept the divine inheritance. However, because Xiaoyu, Ling, and Susu were busy training previously and didn't have time to care about them, they still continued to polish themselves. The Earth Divine Dragon Fossil and the Abyss Seed were both extremely powerful inheritances. The more stable the foundation, the better. Ling, after Ling entered, Qi flew over excitedly surrounded by wind elements. I passed the 8th level. The current Qi had already used the nature fruit and was good at mobilizing the power of nature. Even if she didn't bring equipment, she could be considered to have initial battle power. At that moment, they were still training their willpower and battle skills without any equipment. However, as the power of a god revived, in contrast, it also made the battle power brought by Qi using the nature fruit accelerate the loss. After the development of the mythical revival skill, Qi was getting closer and closer to awakening the quasi-divine skill. However, the price of awakening a powerful skill like space-time travel was that its other aspects would gradually become weaker. Being too strong was not conducive to the passage of space and time. As the divine power awakened, her strength would be suppressed. Qi was already mentally prepared. Apart from that, its image had also changed a little. The most obvious change was its size shrinking. The originally small lowly body shrank in a step and became a little elf about half a meter tall. Its physique, mental strength, and other stats decreased. Even Ling had a headache. At the moment, it didn't have the ability to resist the laws at all. Roar! Quack tilde! At this moment, as Teacher Ling came over, the members of the second team ran over to report their training situation as if it had been New Year. After all, whether his training results could be rewarded with a feast and resources, or if his training would be doubled next, whether he lived or died. It was up to Ling to decide. You're all pretty good. I'm here for another matter. Little G, Ducky. At that moment, as Ling spoke, Little G, Ducky, Qi, and the others swallowed their saliva, not knowing what fate awaited them next. Next, I have an important quest for the two of you. There will be many battles outside. If it's completed well, there might be a chance to advance to the monarch level and fuse with the Earth Divine Dragon Fossil and the Abyss Seed. Roar! Quack! Little G, Ducky, see! The overlords of the earth and ocean were fearless. Charge, charge, charge! Let the challenge be even fiercer. Ling looked at the eager Qi. Qi, continue training. You're not suitable to carry out this quest. Qi, dash dot. Ah. Little Z, your infancy period has passed. Next, you'll also start basic training. Qi, you guys go together. Little Purple, Sigma, degree. Am I? It's only been 2 months. The cat-eared Nebula's white ball, Little Purple, was rather shocked. On the Rubik's Cube screen, the white-haired Loli pushed up her glasses and said, "Is there a problem?" "I'm just 1 year old." "Who isn't a baby?" "Little Z." "Yo, how is it?" After Xiaoyu and President Lin ended the call, they also arrived at the second team space. First, he went to stick to Qi and Little Purple. Then, he came to Ling and Little G. Ducky? What Ducky? Ducky was training. At the moment, the 10-meter-long Earth Element Dragon was lying on the mechanical bed, covered in Earth-brown dragon scales. It was waiting to be modified. About a day, Ling said. Okay. Roar. At this moment, Little G turned its head and looked at Xiaoyu curiously. It didn't understand what kind of quest it was this time that it actually had to be mechanically modified again. A very difficult task. You look too strong now. We have to seal it. Xiaoyu smiled and said, by the way, during the mission, you and Ducky can sign a contract with me, so do the surgery well. Little G, roar, contract. Yes, a contract. The modification begins. Before little G could react, Ling directly used a high-intensity electric current to feint little G, preparing to modify it. Little G, roar! The miserable cry stopped. Shiyu wanted to go to the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation to secretly learn skills and crack the ruins. Be it himself or his pet, they definitely couldn't be too conspicuous. Ducky was actually alright. In the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation, the duckbill beast was also a mainstream water element pet. The impact of directly contracting and sending it out to battle was not big. However, when it came to that side, Ducky definitely couldn't use the Abyss reincarnation beam created by Baby Ginseng. After the Abyss form was sealed, its battle power would directly lock onto the commander rank standard. However, with the Overlord's resistance, even if it was a transcendent race, Ducky was undoubtedly a peak commander battle power. On little G's side, the current dragon body was undoubtedly too conspicuous. It was not a common pet of the Heavenly Sword Nation at all. Therefore, Ling planned to modify little G and let it learn to switch forms with this mechanic skill. Skill, Form Switch. Stats, Mechanic. Introduction, it's a high-level skill. It can allow mechanical lives to switch between different evolution forms. At the moment, little G had a total of 2 stages. One was an ordinary tyrant dragon, and the other was an earth element dragon. Shiyu and the others wanted little G to be able to switch to the degenerated form of the earth element dragon, the Earth Dragon. Race name, Earth Dragon. Stats, Earth. Race level, low-level monarch. Introduction, it's an earth element drake. It's good at earth blade attacks. It's said that after sleeping underground for 1,000 years, it has a chance of evolving into a real dragon. The earth element dragons of the Overlord race were too conspicuous in the Totem Country, but if little G switched to the transformation of the dragons, it wouldn't be so conspicuous. After all, there were many earth dragons in the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation. With little G and Ducky's battle experience, Shiyu believed that even if he sealed a portion of their strength, they should be able to kill indiscriminately. About a day later, little G and Ducky stood in front of Shiyu with serious expressions. At this moment, little G had already used its form to switch and maintain an ordinary earth dragon form that was 3 to 4 meters long. It looked strong and cameo-like, and its deep grey dragon eyes were filled with invincibility. Quack! As for the blue fat duck, it glanced at little G with a disdainful expression. As expected, no matter what form little G took, it looked so annoying. Roar! Stupid duck! Little G cursed. Shiyu rubbed his temples and looked at them speechlessly. He wanted to show them their dark history. Previously, when little G and Ducky were undergoing dream training, little G died in the dream. Ducky cried bitterly and turned evil on the spot. Ducky died in battle in the dream. Once little G's reverse scale was activated, it was useless no matter who came. Although they didn't like each other in reality, they might have already developed feelings in their hearts. Little G, I am the only one who can kill Ducky. Ducky, I'm the only one who can kill little G. It would be very difficult to end this if they didn't get married on the spot. Stop arguing. In any case, neither of you can defeat the other now. This mission is a very good opportunity for you to strengthen yourselves. I'll bring you to the Totem Country to train and use the resources there to strengthen your strength. After the mission is completed, the fusion of the Earth Divine Dragon and the Abyss Seed will also be arranged. When the time comes, you guys will compete, Shiyu said with a smile. Roar! Quack! Little G and Ducky turned around and nodded heavily. Then, he looked at the 2 blue contract halos that appeared in front of Shiyu and revealed an extremely excited expression. After enduring for so long, could he finally be contracted and enter the first team? Didn't Shiyu say that one had to have the strength to defeat the first team to enter the first team and be contracted? Forget it, forget it. It wasn't for nothing. However, why was the color of this contract halo a little strange? The 2 pets fell into deep thought, but their intelligence didn't allow them to think too much. It just had to enter. After contracting little G and Ducky, Shiyu packed his things and prepared to set off for the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation. The ancient kingdom of Heavenly Sword was in seclusion all year round. It was very difficult to smuggle in, but that depended on who. Dong Huang had once sent intelligence personnel to infiltrate the Heavenly Sword Nation. The information Shi Yu obtained now was obtained at that time. And now, as a big boss whose overall battle power was enough to rank in the top 5 of Dong Huang, the difficulty of infiltrating a totem country was not a problem. He decided to let Susu do it. It shrunk to the size of a water drop and hid in its devour space, letting it smuggle it in from the ocean. Just look like this. Before setting off, Shi Yu stood in front of the mirror and used his body control talent to disguise himself as a young man in his 20s. He had short black hair and a slender figure. Just by looking at his appearance, he was ordinary. He was very inconspicuous in the crowd and had an ordinary presence. However, Shi Yu, who was used to being handsome, was still a little unaccustomed to suddenly becoming so normal. "Master, we're going to the demon sect, right? But we don't seem to know the location. There's no detailed record in the index, only saying that it's the west. Let's talk over there. We'll find someone to ask when the time comes." Shi Yu smiled. Heavenly Sword Nation. It was divided into 8 mainstream factions. The greatest faction was the Sword God Mountain. It was where the demigods of the Heavenly Sword Nation were, and also where the Heavenly Sword ruins were. There was a demigod presiding over it, and there were no other totem-level lives. Next was the Sword Sect and the Demon Sect. One was good, and the other was evil. Both had normal totems as guardians. The strongest life form of the remaining 5 factions was only at the Invincible Overlord level. Among them, there were sect-type factions and family-type factions. These factions had the qualifications to participate steadily in the sword trial. As for the other smaller factions, they were not so stable. This time, Shi Yu infiltrated the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation and planned to enter the Demon Sect, one of the 2 totem factions. It was mainly because it was said that this Demon Sect didn't care about the origin of the disciples. Every month, they would recruit a large number of disciples on a fixed date. Their internal strength was king, and the strong preyed on the weak. If they joined here, it should be very suitable for Shi Yu to show off and quickly advance to a genius who could represent the demon sect in the sword trial. As for whether it would be dangerous, it was just a normal totem faction. Going there was like returning to his home. It was super comfortable. Chapter 1007, 1007 Demon Subduing Duck. 1007 Demon Subduing Duck. A day later, in the west of the Heavenly Sword Nation, in a huge river that connected to the sea, a drop of water jumped out. Right on the heels of that, a figure descended by the river. After sending Shi Yu to the Heavenly Sword Nation, Susu returned to the beast-taming space almost resentfully. "Pooey, pooey, pooey, dirty, dirty." It was really because the quality of the environment in the nearby sea was worrying, making Susu extremely stifled. If he wanted to cleanse it, the time was not right. It can't be helped. This place is relatively close to Minghua. The water quality over there is indeed not very clean. Shi Yu was amused and said, "There's no hurry. After you reach the totem level, we'll go to the world to cleanse." With that said, Shi Yu slowly observed his surroundings. Although there was a lot of information in the Intelligence Bureau Index, it was all important information about the Heavenly Sword Nation. There was really no unimportant information, such as where this was and how to go next. The index didn't record it at all, nor could it. Shi Yu's eyes were dark. He could only search for a place with people and ask around himself. In a small path in the wilderness, it didn't take long for Shi Yu to find traces of humans. The Heavenly Sword Nation was similar to the Heavenly Fox Nation. Humans were the second largest race, so in this country, apart from the race of that demigod, humans were also above all races. However, the group of people Shi Yu discovered didn't seem to be in a good situation. They were in a battle and were surrounded by ferocious beasts. Shi Yu waved a hand and turned his aura into a sword. He split open the thorns and looked into the distance. A group of people were surrounding the carriage to resist the attack of the dead leaf mantis. "Yi!" On the ground, in the sky, more than 10 brown mantis-type creatures that looked like dead leaves were holding large sabers. Their green eyes were always locked onto the crowd below. Its bloodthirsty expression seemed to want to tear them apart and swallow them into its stomach. Name: Dead Leaf Mantis. Stats: Wood. Race level: Low Class Commander. Level of growth: Commander. Apart from this group of mantises, there was also a group of duckbill beasts. So there are really many duckbill beasts in the Heavenly Sword Nation. Shiyu looked over. The 8 to 9 people surrounding the carriage and the pets beside them were all duckbill beasts of high-level transcendent races, as well as the commander race evolution of the duckbill beast, the duckbill quas beast. However, it was normal to think about it. The Heavenly Sword Nation was an island country with many water bodies around it. It was water element and mastered the water blade. Moreover, it was difficult for the duckbill beast race, with a huge race, not to become mainstream here. But as the arm of a middle-aged guard was sliced off by the dancing dead leaf mantis, blood splattered. From the current situation, Shiyu felt that their situation was very bad. We finally encountered a living person. Ducky, little G, chase away the insect swarm and help them. Let's go ask for directions, Shiyu said. At the same time, a blue summoning array appeared beside him. A blue fat duck appeared first with a calm gaze. Quack! It stretched out its duck palm and condensed a water blade. Previously, it liked to condense the water blade into the form of a spear blade. However, after coming to the Heavenly Sword Nation, it followed the customs. This time, it directly condensed the water blade into the form of a blade and held it in its hand. By the sword god duck, all the dual blade tyrant dragons were trash. Although its water blade proficiency had not been added points, it was already close to transcendent. After all, it was the reincarnation of a big boss, and its comprehension was very extraordinary. Moreover, it had Shiyu's various top-notch resources to nurture and a large amount of battle training. Swoosh! The duck's blue figure flashed. Miss, we don't have the advantage in numbers. If this stalemate continues, it's very disadvantageous to us. Next, we're going to try to forcefully break out. Please be careful. In the carriage, a young woman sat nervously. She carefully pulled open the curtain and a middle-aged guard stuck to the carriage. He was covered in sweat as he looked around. Beside him, a commander-level pet similar to the duckbill beast, but covered in a frost aura, was facing the dead leaf mantis in midair. Low-class commander race, duckbill quas beast. All right. Uncle D.A. Just as the woman called Miss finished speaking, she suddenly looked at the sky in panic and said, "They're here again." Damn it. Frost energy surged all over the middle-aged guard's body. He activated his ice element strengthening talent. Beside him, the quas blade in the duckbill quas duck's hand also spread cold air as it looked at the 2 commander-level dead leaf mantises attacking in the sky. The greatest disadvantage was that the duckbill beast couldn't fly against the flying dead leaf mantis. The middle-aged guard and the duckbill quas beast focused with all their might. In the next moment, what made the expressions of the middle-aged guard and the girl in the car change slightly was that in the sky, a blue figure suddenly flashed and disappeared. It was indescribable, but its speed was extremely fast, even faster than the dead leaf mantis that was good at flying. When the 2 dead leaf mantises flying over saw this blue light, they almost immediately closed their blades to block as if they were facing a great enemy. Boom! But in the next moment, as they touched the blue light, their sharp sickles inevitably caved in. Right on the heels of that, their entire bodies morphed. With a huge impact, the dead leaf mantis, known as the fiercest hunter in the forest, flew backward and smashed into a cloud of dust. Bang! At the same time, the owner of the blue figure descended from the sky. The beast tamer and the dead leaf mantis in the battle were attracted by the commotion here. Under Shiyu's command, Ducky moved almost instantly. It slashed out twice, and the powerful power of the slash instantly sent the 2 ferocious beasts of the same level flying. Chapter 1008, 1008 Demon Subduing Duck, 2. 1008 Demon Subduing Duck, 2. Whose duckbill beast is it? Everyone who saw this scene was stunned and couldn't understand. The duckbill beast was only a life form of a transcendent race. If it didn't evolve into a duckbill quas beast, it would be very difficult to resist these commander-level deadleaf mantises. However, this unknown duckbill beast displayed extremely powerful strength. In a single exchange, it killed 2 commander-level deadleaf mantises. Its strength was simply a little stronger than the duckbill quas in the team. At this moment, the guards were extremely puzzled because there was no such strong duckbill beast in the team. Roar! What shocked them even more was that with a dragon roar, an even more terrifying energy wave came out. These deadleaf mantis were like birds startled by the twang of a bow, fleeing in all directions. As creatures that bullied the weak and feared the strong, the deadleaf mantises knew very well what was a threat to them and what wasn't. The fluctuations of the owner of this roar made them know that the powerful life form that arrived was a predator at the top of the food chain. If he didn't escape, he would die. Their premonition was very accurate. The huge roar not only scared the deadleaf mantises away, but also made this group of people's faces turn pale. They suddenly looked at the huge earth dragon walking for meters forward from the forest. Its heavy body, ancient scales, huge body, and violent dragon eyes. It's the earth dragon. It's over. How can there be an earth dragon in such a place? For them, the commander-level insect swarm was something they could barely fight, and if the monarch race's earth dragon was at the commander level, it would be fine, but if it was at the monarch level, they definitely had no chance of survival. Miss! No, there's someone up there. When the middle-aged man beside the owner of the carriage saw the earth dragon, his legs went weak from fright. However, as he saw a young man carrying a long sword standing on the huge earth dragon, his expression changed again. Moreover, what shocked all of them again was that the figure of the duckbill beast that easily repelled the 2 deadleaf mantises flashed again. It directly appeared beside the young man like a ninja and stepped on the earth dragon. Roar! The earth dragon Little G shouted angrily, making this group of people's hearts suddenly accelerate. However, Little G was actually angry that Ducky was standing on it like Shiryu. It was fine if it was Shiryu, but he was a duck. Was he worthy? However, in this situation, it couldn't throw the duck down or slap it down with its tail. Obstructing Shiryu from posing was a serious crime. Gulp! At this moment, looking at this mysterious expert who had arrived, the guards who also held swords and the girl in the car looked over nervously. Soon, the middle-aged man called Uncle Da beside the girl reacted and immediately went forward respectfully. Thank you for saving my life, sir. If it weren't for you, my lord, we would definitely have suffered heavy losses. We still have some resources in the car. Please accept them, sir. Treat it as a thank you gift for saving your life. Do you know how to get to the demon sect? I'm lost. Shiryu stood on Little G and ignored his words. Instead, he directly asked the question he was most concerned about. Demon sect? At this moment, when he heard Shiryu mention the demon sect, the middle-aged guard's mouth opened slightly, and his expression changed. Lord, you want to go to the demon sect? Yes. Shiryu's expression did not change. Sir, we're from the Chen family of Lingshui County. Thank you for saving our lives, sir. We're also going to the demon sect on this trip. Why don't you follow us, sir? When we reach the demon sect, we'll definitely send an even heavier thank you gift. My brother is an inner sect elite disciple of the demon sect. At this moment, the woman who looked to be 17 or 18 years old also got out of the carriage. She had a pretty face. It was obvious that she came from a good family. However, from her aura, she was a little unruly, but facing an expert like Shiryu, she still restrained herself. You're also going to the demon sect? Shiryu said in surprise. Then do you know when the demon sect's entrance assessment is? The middle-aged guard was stunned. Lord, our miss is going to participate in the demon sect's entry assessment. The assessment is in a week, but in another day and a half, we can almost reach the cities around the demon sect. Lord, you're also going to join the demon sect? He was in disbelief. He felt that with Shiryu's strength, he wasn't much inferior to their young master. He could definitely become an elite disciple of the inner sect. Such a genius had yet to enter the sect. Which family was he from? A day? Then I'll follow you. However, you're so weak. Is it really all right for you to join the demon sect? Shiyu said bluntly. Too weak. It was so miserable for them to deal with a commander-level insect swarm. Was it really not a problem to go to the demon sect that was rolled to the extreme? Even if he had an inner sect disciple brother. Shiyu estimated that this inner sect disciple couldn't reach the master level. What right did he have to speak? Well, in the face of Shiyu's doubts, this group of people could only force a smile. It wasn't that they were weak, but that Shiyu was too strong. Uncle Da said, Lord, please wait a moment. We'll let the injured bandage some injuries first. Lord, please rest in the carriage for a while. At this moment, Shiyu retracted Little G and Ducky. The blue summoning array appeared and disappeared. Soon, these people determined Shiyu's level. At this moment, when they saw Shiyu's beast taming level and realized that he was a level 4 beast tamer, no one was surprised. However, they sighed in his heart. Shiyu was so young, but he was actually only one step away from the master level. Moreover, he had contracted such a powerful earth dragon. He was simply powerful. After entering the demon sect, he would probably be able to quickly become an elite disciple of the inner sect and have a chance to advance to a core disciple. At that moment, Shiyu slowly walked to the edge of the carriage and didn't plan to go up. Miss Chen leaned over and said with admiration, Lord, do you want to enter the demon sect for the Diamond River? Shiyu looked at her. Because you also contracted a duckbill beast. The duckbill beast has a total of 2 evolution paths. One is the duckbill quas beast, and the other is the demon vanquishing duck of the monarch race. With your strength, Lord, you definitely want the monarch race. One of the conditions for the duckbill beast to evolve into a demon vanquishing duck is the Diamond River water, and only the demon sect has the Diamond River water, so. Shiyu was surprised. The demon sect and the Diamond River? The duckbill quas beast and the demon vanquishing duck were indeed evolved from the duckbill beast. The duckbill quas beast was relatively common, and the evolution difficulty was not high. As for the demon vanquishing duck, it was actually a unique pet in the Minghua area. There was a holy river in the Minghua area called the Diamond River. It was said that it had the ability to cleanse sin and cleanse filth. It was one of the holy lands of Minghua. The river water here could allow many pets to evolve under certain conditions. The duckbill beast was one of them. It could directly evolve from a high-level transcendent race into a low-level monarch race's demon vanquishing duck. Although Shiyu didn't know how the demon sect of the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation obtained the Diamond River water from Minghua, one of the 7 countries, it didn't matter. Actually, my brother's duckbill beast used the Diamond River of the demon sect to evolve into a demon vanquishing duck. If you have such thoughts, I can get my brother to help you think of a way. Let's talk about it after we reach the demon sect, Shiyu said. All right. Miss Chen nodded. In fact, Shiyu was not interested in the other party's family situation. However, on the way to the demon sect, this Miss Chen kept talking in his ear. Coincidentally, the pet of the Chen family was the duckbill beast. It was precisely because of this that she knew so much about the evolution form of the duckbill beast. However, it didn't matter if Shiyu purely evolved or not. When the duck's strength increased, it could completely degenerate into an abyss demon duck in one go. What demon vanquishing duck? It was dispensable. However, if Ducky had more demon vanquishing duck forms, Susu should be very happy. He would sigh that Ducky had finally become successful. Chapter 1009 Shiyu enters the demon sect. 1009 Shiyu enters the demon sect. On the way to the demon sect with the Chen family's convoy, Shiyu spent most of his time meditating in the carriage. To increase the level of the first and second beast taming spaces. Regarding a young and powerful genius like Shiyu, the Chen family and the others wanted to rope him in very much, but Shiyu didn't give them much of a chance. Apart from an alias called Lin Bai, they didn't obtain much valuable information from Shiyu. Regarding this, Miss Chen Lina was very helpless. Was she not beautiful enough? She had yet to despise this Lin Bai for looking ordinary. Although he looked ordinary, his strength was indeed strong. Miss, young Master Lin, we're about to reach the big city led by the demon sect, Rock City. We're getting closer and closer to the sect. As they approached the city, Uncle Da said, "Let's go to the inn to rest for a while. Young Master Chen should come out to receive us before the sect assessment." "Sure." In the carriage, Shi Yu opened his eyes. The demon sect recruited servant disciples very frequently every month. Although there weren't many people recruited every time, there were many times when they couldn't hold back. Therefore, every recruitment was led by inner sect disciples. Only big shots weren't so free. In his conversation with the Chen family and the others, Shi Yu learned that if the people participating in the assessment were related to the sect members, sometimes the complicated entry assessment could even be waived and they could directly enter the sect. As an elite disciple of the inner sect of the demon sect, the young master of the Chen family was one of the examiners this time. Therefore, the young lady of the Chen family was also planning to take this opportunity to use her brother's position to find a good place. For example, the mountain peak that helped the sect nurture spiritual plants was not only lucrative, but it was also easier than quests elsewhere. It was really difficult to enter without some connections. A level 4 beast tamer contracting a monarch race, a commander rank earth dragon, and a commander rank duckbill beast with extraordinary battle power? Where did this beast tamer come from? His strength is not bad. That day, in the demon sect, a black-robed young man received a letter from his family. He was first nervous about the ferocious beast attack mentioned in the letter. Then, he was extremely curious about Shi Yu, who had saved a member of his family. A group of dead leaf mantises should have been forced to leave their habitat because a mantis king had appeared in the forest. Even he didn't want to face the wandering mantis group head-on. However, such a group of ferocious beasts was actually scared away in a single exchange. Even if it was a monarch race and a commander rank earth dragon, it shouldn't be so crazy, right? With deep confusion, Chen Luo left the sect mountain and arrived at Rock City. He found the clansmen who had rushed over from their families. "Brother!" In the inn, Chen Lina, the daughter of the Chen family, immediately said in surprise when she saw her brother. "Little sister, I'm sorry. I couldn't pick you up because I had a quest previously, so you encountered danger," Chen Luo said. "However, it's good that you're fine." "It's all thanks to young Master Lin," Chen Lina said. "Let's talk inside." The beast tamer of the demon sect, Chen Luo, pulled his sister into the room and said, "Do you know the origin of this young Master Lin?" "I'm not sure, but he should have joined the demon sect for the Diamond River and to evolve the duckbill beast. Moreover, he should have come from other places. Otherwise, he wouldn't know so little about the West," Chen Lina said. "Brother, he's very strong and even saved us. There shouldn't be any harm in befriending him." Chen Luo fell into deep thought and said, "Although that's the case, you also said that he's very strong. After entering the demon sect, he'll probably become an inner sect disciple soon. With the intensity of the competition in the demon sect, I'm afraid he'll still have a conflict of interest with me in the future advancement assessment. Fortunately, I don't need the Diamond River water for his goal in coming to the demon sect anymore. You won't be able to use it in the short term. I can help him with this and repay his kindness." "Yes, yes." Chen Lina nodded. Chen Luo nodded on the surface, but he was calculating in his heart. He didn't need the Diamond River water. The other inner sect elite disciples needed to help Shi Yu and cause a conflict between Shi Yu and the other inner sect disciples. With Shi Yu's strength, he could probably help him clean up a large number of competitors. This way, it wasn't too much of a loss. At the thought of this, he said, "Then I'll visit that young Master Lin." A moment later, Shi Yu, who was meditating in the inn, opened the door. He looked at this young talent with an extraordinary aura, and his expression didn't change. The other party smiled and said, "Young Master Lin, I'm Chen Luo, an inner sect disciple of the demon sect, Chen Lin's elder brother. Thank you, young Master Lin, for saving my life." "It's nothing," Shi Yu said. No, no. This favor is huge. I'm very grateful, he said. I heard from my sister that young Master Lin also wants to join the demon sect for the sake of the Diamond River. When the time comes, I'll definitely help with all my might. Also, I'm also one of the examiners for this demon sect entrance assessment. Can I take the liberty to ask about your strength, young Master Lin? Shiyu gestured for the other party to come in and sit. At the same time, he said, I'm a level 4 beast tamer. I contracted 2 pets. One is a monarch race, a commander rank earth dragon, and the other is a transcendent race, a commander rank duckbill beast. You should know about them. Earth Dragon, Chen Luo smiled and said, Brother Lin's strength is indeed extraordinary. Even among inner sect disciples, there aren't many people who have monarch race pets. The demon sect was divided into servant disciples, external disciples, inner disciples, and core disciples. The servant disciples were basically all beast tamers in turn. The outer sect disciples were all beast tamers who contracted transcendent pets, while the inner sect disciples were beast tamers who contracted commander-level pets. As for the core disciples, they had stepped into the monarch domain. Contracting a monarch species pet was no different from stepping into the core level of the sect. However, the situation of the demon sect is relatively special. The new people recruited every month are basically all servant disciples. With your strength, Brother Lin, it's naturally impossible for you to be a servant disciple. However, my authority isn't enough for Brother Lin to directly enter the inner sect. At most, I can let you enter an outer peak like me. If you want to enter the inner sect, I'm afraid you have to participate in the inner sect assessment yourself, Brother Lin. It's all right, as long as I can enter the demon sect, Shiyu said indifferently. Then why don't I arrange for Brother Lin and little sister to enter that spirit grass peak together? Although there will be more missions to take care of spiritual plants, I can obtain 2 additional energy crystals every month. There's no need. Just arrange for me to go to a place where I can quickly advance through battle, Shiyu said. Chen Luo smiled bitterly and said, that's true. Then let's talk about the Demon Sword Peak. The competition here is the most cruel, but with Brother Lin's strength, it shouldn't be a problem to deal with it. By the way, before arranging for Brother Lin to enter the demon sect, I'll tell you about the situation of the demon sect first. Little sister seems to have said that you don't know much about the demon sect. All right. Shiyu nodded. Speaking of the demon sect, it can be said to be a good place to increase strength. After entering the outer sect and becoming an outer sect disciple, you can go to the sword pavilion to choose a skill manual and teach it to pets. There are low, intermediate, and high-level skills. There are a total of 300 sword-type skills. It can be said to be an important place in the sect. Of course, I can only choose one at the start. So many? Shiyu was surprised. 300 sword skills? Even Dong Huang didn't have so many. If he taught it all to Kai Tong and fused it into a skill, how awesome would it be? Of course, if you want to learn these new skills, you also need a certain amount of resources to assist or train in special places. However, these resources and special places can basically be exchanged directly in the sect. As for what to use to exchange, money, resources, everything is fine. If it really doesn't work, we'll bet. In the demon sect, we support private bets. There's also a battle trial established by the officials. As long as we have strength, everything is fine. Shiyu expressed his understanding. Although anyone could get a sword skill for free, if he wanted to learn it, he still had to rely on the sect. As for how to get resources from the sect, he would buy them. It was all a trick. However, it was just a mutual benefit. The sect had to maintain its operation. And if outer sect disciples want to advance to the inner sect, generally speaking, they need to have a commander-level pet and pass the Elder's assessment. After entering the inner sect, there are many benefits. Every month, they have a chance to enter the mystic realm of the sect and comprehend the sword Dao resistance of the seniors in the sect. However, only by nurturing a monarch-level pet and becoming a core disciple of the sect can you truly enter the demon sect. At that time, not only can you choose one of the 6 super sword skills inherited in the demon sect to teach to your pet, but you also have a chance to represent the demon sect in the annual sword trial. Shiyu was slightly stunned. He needed a monarch-level pet to represent the demon sect to participate in the sword trial? From the looks of it, he had to hurry up and raise the second beast taming space to level 5 before letting Little G and Ducky break through. In Shiyu's opinion, these were not difficult. He could achieve them quickly. As for the Diamond River water you want, Brother Lin, you have a chance to obtain it after entering the inner sect. You need to compete with a group of inner sect disciples. It's especially cruel. Many old people who can clearly be promoted to core disciples will stay in the inner sect for the Diamond River water. Back then, I spent a lot of effort to bribe some strong opponents and make them give up the competition to obtain this resource, Chen Luo said. I see. After Shiyu obtained this information, he nodded. Therefore, it was time to enter the outer sect and participate in the inner sect assessment. However, he wanted to take a look at the demon sect sword pavilion that Chen Luo said outer sect disciples could enter first. After all, after coming to the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation, Shiyu still had an idea. He wanted to nurture Ducky, Little G, and Kai Tong's clones. They still had very few skills. In this Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation, there were a bunch of sword-type skills. Shiyu felt that he could replicate them ruthlessly. He didn't come for nothing this time. First, he would find his 100 sword skills to teach Kai Tong's clone before fusing them. In short, this Duck and Little G worked for Kai Tong. Of course, if there were suitable skills, they could also learn them. Then congratulations on entering the demon sect, Brother Lin. Chen Luo looked at Shiyu and smiled. Shiyu also looked at him and smiled. However, this smile immediately made Chen Luo's heart skip a beat as he swallowed his saliva. This guy seems to have other thoughts? Shiyu looked at the other party and sensed the other party's hidden thoughts with telepathy. However, it didn't matter. He was just a small figure. There was no need to wait until the day of the disciple recruitment. The next day, Shiyu was arranged by Chen Luo to the so-called Demon Sword Peak in advance and obtained an outer sect disciple token and a single-story courtyard. This single-story courtyard was located in the middle of a pile of courtyards. It looked very crowded. Chen Luo, who was leading Shiyu, said in embarrassment, "Brother Lin, I'm sorry. I can only trouble you first. I've already contacted an inner sect elder I know. In a few days, you should be able to participate in the inner sect assessment. After advancing to the inner sect, my residence will be much more luxurious. It's all right. Thank you, Brother Chen. In this state, I'm an outer sect disciple of the demon sect, right?" Shiyu picked up the token and looked at the sword-shaped metal token with his name engraved on it. In other words, I can go to the sword pavilion to exchange for a sword skill now, right? That's indeed the case. But I still have a quest next, so I might not be able to accompany Brother Lin. I'll go myself, Shiyu said. He and Chen Luo exchanged pleasantries before looking at their new residence and shaking his head. These totem countries were really backward. The 7 countries were better. Modernization was better. In the university dormitory of the 7 countries, there was at least a television, air conditioner, and fridge. There was nothing here. It was ridiculous. How exactly did the beast tamers of the totem country withstand such an environment? If it weren't for the fact that there were hundreds of sword-type skills he could secretly learn next, Shiyu would definitely get tired of staying for a few days. Chapter 1010, 1010 Plans Can't Keep Up with Changes. 1010 Plans Can't Keep Up with Changes. Shiyu arrived. After packing up, he walked around. This mountain peak was very huge, and there were all kinds of facilities inside. It was said that there were thousands of beast tamers on a single mountain peak. So many people also caused Shiyu to walk outside. When everyone saw his new face, they were not affected at all. Everyone only had a straight face and were busy with their own things. Taking out an energy crystal, Shiyu went to the canteen to take a look. After successfully resolving the thought of not coming again, his goal was to reach the demon sect sword pavilion. He showed the outer sect disciple token to the pavilion guardian elder, who was like a doorman, but the other party actually put Shiyu in without any reaction. The looseness made Shiyu speechless. However, when Shiyu entered the pavilion, a young man in green welcomed him with a smile and said, "Senior brother, you want to choose a skill manual? Is this your first time here, or are you exchanging contribution points?" "This is the first time," Shiyu said as he looked at him. "All right, give me the disciple token. I'll register. I can receive any skill the first time, but next time, I'll have to spend contribution points." Shiyu handed over the token. The young man in green took the token and said, "Senior brother, what stat skills do you need? What are your requirements for level? I'll bring you over." "I'll go take a look myself," Shiyu said. "No problem. Senior brother, please go ahead." "I'll go register," the other party said with a smile. Then, he left, leaving Shiyu alone to walk in. These skill manuals were all stored in a bamboo tube. They were placed in the display cabinet. Below the inside were their names, stats, levels, and introductions. Wind Suppression Sword. Low-level wind element skill. It could create wind blades to attack. It was suitable for wind element pets to learn. Son of a B*TCH, this was also a sword skill? Wasn't this AF*King Wind Blade? Did he think that he wouldn't recognize him if he changed his name? Leaf Blade. Low-level wood element skill. It could sharpen plants and slash. It was suitable for plant-type pets to learn. Wasn't this the wood element low-level skill, Impregnating Plant? They had all changed their surnames, right? Shiyu originally had a lot of anticipation for the so-called hundreds of sword-type skills of the demon sect, but just as he entered and saw the outermost skill manual, he couldn't help but walk deeper. The pet skills outside could be said to be of no value at all. He didn't even need to come here. His third index had recorded the learning method, and the transcendent lides by the roadside had a bunch of them who had mastered this skill. Shiyu directly crossed the intermediate skill area and arrived at the advanced skill area. Only then did he see some decent skills. For example, the Wave Sword, a high-level water element skill. It could release a slash that contained the power of the wave. When cultivated to perfection, a slash could contain 9 energy impacts. It was suitable for water element pets to learn, and the learning difficulty was high. Sunlight Slash, a high-level light element skill. It could accumulate sunlight energy and form a light slash. Its speed was extremely fast. Super Heavy Sword, a high-level earth element skill. It could create a rock blade that contained gravity. The weight of the rock blade was controlled by the user. Senior brother, why are you here? The difficulty of learning high-level skills is too high. It's better for you to choose a mid-level skill for the first time. At this moment, the green-robed youth ran over and said to Shiyu, "It's all right, I want this one." Shiyu didn't expect this demon sect to be so generous. A casual outer sect disciple had the chance to learn high-level skills. Wasn't he afraid that someone would run away with the manual? Well, there was indeed no need for high-level skills. Moreover, high-level spatial sword skills definitely wouldn't be placed here. In the end, Shiyu casually chose a super heavy sword for Little G, mainly because this skill was not recorded in the Dong Huang Cultivation Index. In addition, after fusing with the Earth Divine Dragon fossil, Little G should awaken the power of gravity and lava. It could be considered to have laid the foundation in advance. All right. The green-robed young man didn't say anything else. After returning the token to Shiyu, he said, "Senior brother, remember the sect rules. If he wanted to teach Super Heavy Sword, firstly, he had to undergo special training in a gravity environment. Secondly, he needed to use Super Heavy Rock as the main food and Sword Rock as weapons for special training. These 3 things could be found in the sect, but returning to its essence required money. Of course, in the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation, hard currency still had to be energy crystals. Shiyu naturally had as many energy crystals as he wanted. Next, Shiyu temporarily stayed with this fake identity, but he wouldn't stay obediently. On the surface, he would occasionally appear, but behind his back, with Buggy's help, he replicated skills everywhere. In this area, beast tamers often fought. Once they fought, they would use skills. And with Shiyu and Buggy's strength, it was very simple to touch their pets without anyone noticing. On the day he arrived, Shiyu copied an extremely rare high-level skill, Sword Heart, from an inner sect disciple of the demon sect. This was the same as Kai Tong's Sword Dao resistance. It was also a Sword Dao talent skill. Shiyu liked this passive skill that could superimpose talent comprehension. That night, as he felt that the environment of the courtyard was too poor, Shiyu left Buggy to stand guard and returned to the ruined space to stay. He prepared to teach Kai Tong the Sword Heart. Mimi! Kai Tong, in the form of a sword spirit, flew over happily. It was very happy that it had a new skill. Let me think. When the Sword Heart reaches the maximum level, what skill will it fuse with? Shiyu touched his chin and thought. Chapter 10-11, 1011 Plans Can't Keep Up with Changes, 2. 1011 Plans Can't Keep Up with Changes, 2. M.I. Scapegoat. How much do you hate scapegoats? I can't fuse it. Keep it. The corners of Shiyu's mouth twitched. At the moment, Kai Tong indeed only had one high-level skill, Scapegoat. Name Kai Tong. Race skill. Super, Interlocking Sword, perfect, Sun Flame, perfect, Spirit Release, perfect, Flame Spirit Sword Body, perfect, Myriad Sword Convergence, perfect, Phoenix Sword Will, perfect, Star Fire Sword Formation, perfect, Curse Flame, perfect. Teaching skill. Advanced, Scapegoat, Transcendent. Super, Undead Revival, perfect, Soul Incarnation, perfect. In the 2 months of bitter cultivation, most of Kai Tong's skills had been fused by Shiyu. For example, the original Profundity skill, Myriad Sword Convergence, was fused from Possession, Clone, and Multiplication. It perfectly inherited the effect of the three and its potential increased greatly. This could not only be Kai Tong's main body, but also Shiyu's body, or even an enemy. For example, the Phoenix Sword intent was fused from Sword Dao Resistance, Phoenix Deterrence, and other skills. In terms of pressure, it was even fiercer than simple Royal Max level deterrence, catching up to the Green Dragon Divine Might brought by Buggy's Green Dragon Indestructible Body. Coupled with the sword skill Entanglement, there was an even greater enhancement. The Star Fire Sword Formation was a fusion of the Energy Storage Beam, the 4-symbol Star Formation, and the Flame of Guardian. The greatest characteristic of this sword formation was that after creating it, it could automatically absorb the light of the stars and ignite the star fire. It was an almost eternal existence. A little star fire could start a prairie fire. Apart from that, the sword formation had a spirit and could also transform into a sword-shaped crystal as a protective equipment. The Cursed Flame was the fusion of the Demon Blade Curse and the Nether Ghost Flame. Compared to the previous Nether Ghost Flame, its power would be even more terrifying when combined with the Sun Flame to execute the interlocking sword. Of course, the burden would also be greater. The world where only the scapegoat was injured was born. As for the Sword Heart, it should be able to fuse with the Phoenix Sword intent or the Flame Spirit Sword Body, Shiyu said. Forget it, I'll add points first. Fill it up and delete it as soon as possible before replicating other skills. Mimi. The next day. To Shiyu's surprise, Chen Luo found him again so quickly. For the past half a day, he had been adding points and successfully fused the Transcendent Sword Heart into the Flame Spirit Sword Body to increase Kai Tong's strength. Brother Lin, good news. This time, Chen Luo's expression was a little abnormal, as if he was very emotional. What's wrong? Shiyu was surprised. Do you know how many countries there are outside our Heavenly Sword Nation? Shiyu revealed a puzzled expression. There's always someone better. I've heard of it before. Yeah, Chen Luo said. I have news that our Heavenly Sword Nation might be opening the country soon. It said that a while ago, news came from the outside world. The era that belongs to gods is about to revive. There are even gods who have already awakened. Even under their auspices, more than 100 countries have gathered. The geniuses of more than 100 countries have carried out a battle that shocked the world. Is that so? Shi Yu was rather surprised. More than 100 countries? Yes, it said that the culture of these countries is completely different from ours. What technology, magic, or even beast men? It's very strange. Wasn't the Heavenly Sword Nation in seclusion? It looked even more feudal than the Heavenly Fox Nation. It was fine if the news of the World Tournament reached the ears of the higher-ups of the Heavenly Sword Nation, but now, even such a low-level beast tamer knew. Shi Yu was curious. I heard that in the competition at that time, legends could be said to be everywhere. Masters are inferior to dogs. Moreover, these geniuses are all under the age of 30. It's worth more than our country's sword trial conference. Unfortunately, I couldn't see it with my own eyes or see the content of the battle. Chen Luo's expression was especially regretful. Shi Yu was calm. It wasn't a big problem. Although he didn't see the process of the competition, he saw the world champion. Then, Shi Yu asked. It seems to say that such a competition will be held soon. Our Heavenly Sword Nation didn't participate the last time, but this time, we seem to be interested in participating. Everyone in the sect is discussing this now. I also learned about it from an elder with a good relationship. Shi Yu understood. This was because the demigod of the Heavenly Sword Nation had missed the first-hand news of the mythical revival and was regretting it now. Perhaps it originally thought that it was just an ordinary world competition, but who knew that it would actually expose such explosive news like mythical revival? The current situation is that this year's sword trial meeting, the Heavenly Sword Ruins trial, seems to be held in advance. It's in a month. Moreover, it's the largest trial. The country wants to choose a batch of geniuses with potential and immediately concentrate on nurturing them. Fight in that special competition. And our sect is also expanding the position of core disciple recently because of this. There's no need for a level 5 beast tamer or a monarch level pet. As long as your potential and talent are not bad, you can directly become a core disciple and enjoy the cultivation of the sect. Then, you can participate in the sword trial next month. I told that elder about your situation. He said that you can directly participate in the core disciple assessment. Of course, I can also participate. Really? Of course. Shi Yu's heart skipped a beat. Good Lord, good Lord. Fortunately, he came to the Heavenly Sword Nation in advance. Otherwise, if he delayed for another month, wouldn't he have directly missed the Ruins trial? He didn't know how long it would take to enter again. Chapter 10-12, 1012 Plans Can't Keep Up with Changes, 3. 1012 Plans Can't Keep Up with Changes, 3. Ling even said that there was no hurry. It would be fine if it believed it. Luck was fake. What's the content of the core disciple assessment? Shi Yu asked. Chen Luo said, you have to defeat a monarch-level trial beast and let the elders determine if you have the potential to become a core disciple. The assessment is in 3 days. It will last for a week. Be it inner or outer sect disciples, they can participate in the assessment. If they are promoted to core disciples, they can directly apply for cultivation resources from the sect. Brother Lin, the Diamond River water you want might be able to directly obtain it with this opportunity. Then I'll wait 3 days. Shi Yu nodded. Wasn't it just a requirement to have quasi-master level battle power? The requirements weren't high. 3 days later, at the trial peak, Shi Yu arrived. At this moment, thousands of people were gathered here, surrounding a huge duel arena. In the duel arena, a pile of low-level monarch-level sword-teeth rhinos was standing there. Their huge bodies, sharp teeth, and metal-like bodies emitted a faint deterrent that made the surrounding demon sect beast tamers a little nervous. Chen Luo arrived early. When he saw Shi Yu, he shouted, Brother Lin, register and queue for the assessment here. You're an outer sect disciple now. If you want to participate in the assessment, you need to fill in the recommendation. You can just fill in Relda Luz directly. It's fine if we don't pass, but if we pass, Elder Lu can also have some benefits. When the time comes, after we become core disciples, he can also take care of us. Shi Yu said, all right. This mechanism kept making Shi Yu feel that the higher-ups of the demon sect encouraged their elders to rope in geniuses everywhere. Outer sect? Register the information. Shi Yu went to the place Chen Luo mentioned. The registration staff handed over a brush and a booklet. Shi Yu wrote his name and background on the booklet. As for the background, it must have been a background of a wandering genius that looked real but couldn't be investigated after stealing the memories of many demon sect disciples through Buggy. After completing it, Shi Yu went to line up. At this moment, Chen Luo, who had been in charge of transmitting news to Shi Yu, also came over with a smile. This time, there was a man and a woman in inner sect clothes beside him. Brother Lin, this is Hal, this is Hong Ran. They're both inner sect disciples, and there's a high chance of them becoming core disciples this time. This is Brother Lin Bai, who I mentioned previously and saved my little sister. Chen Luo introduced him to Shi Yu and the others. Shi Yu chatted with these people with a headache. At the same time, on the duel arena, the assessment of the core disciples was in full swing. On the high platform, 5 beast tamers sat on high ground, both men and women. They seemed to be the inner sect elders Chen Luo mentioned. At this moment, they were taking on the assessment of the core disciples. Below, every person who came up had to send out their pets to fight a sword fang rhinoceros in the duel. However, inner sect disciples were inner sect disciples after all. There were very few who had reached level 5 themselves, and even fewer whose pets had reached the monarch level. It was still too difficult to challenge a monarch-level sword fang rhinoceros of a monarch race. Bang! An inner sect disciple who had just gone up, under the possession of the sword ghost, rode a horned sword horse and had a ball of thorny sword grass as support. He didn't last a round at all and was directly knocked over by the sword fang rhinoceros. A huge hole was directly pushed out of the horned sword horse's body, and blood flowed continuously. On the high platform, an assessment elder with short grey hair said calmly, not suitable. Next. The registration list was gradually transmitted to it. The expressions of these elders looked very relaxed, as if they were watching a show. Monarch race, monarch level sword teeth rhinoceros. Be it that sword horn or sword teeth, they're both shocking killing weapons. The combination of metal and earth also makes its resistance very good and very difficult to deal with. Fortunately, these sword teeth rhinoceros didn't have the intention of using super skills and deterrence. Otherwise, none of the candidates who went up just now would have survived and would have lost even faster. Chen Luo landed beside him and said, Brother Lin, what do you think? Hal and Hong Ran asked Shi Yu because even Chen Luo only knew that Shi Yu was very strong, but he had never personally verified his strength. It's indeed not easy to deal with, Shi Yu said. These sword-teeth rhinos had 1 million energy points. Little G, Ducky, if they didn't erupt, it was currently tens of thousands of energy points. This was a difference of more than 10 times. In fact, it wasn't surprising that those people lost so badly. Even he, who only used the pets of the second team to fight and didn't expose his trump cards like the overlords will in normal battles, might have to be extremely serious and let Little G and Ducky cooperate well. Moreover, not only did he have to defeat the enemy, but he also had to obtain recognition. In that case, he had to be even more serious, but he couldn't be too serious. Next, Demon Sword Peak, Lin Bai. After a long time, Shi Yu waited for his name. So far, only 2 people had passed the inner sect assessment. One was that the 4 pets cooperated better. Their stats and abilities happened to counter the trial ferocious beasts. As for the other, although the pet had yet to reach the monarch level, the beast tamer himself had reached level 5. With the enhancement of stronger strengthening talent, he successfully defeated the trial above his level. After hearing his name, Shi Yu looked at Chen Luo and the others, as if he was asking if they registered. Brother Lin, go first. Chen Luo smiled and said, my pet still has 1 injury that hasn't recovered. Chapter 1013, 1013 Plans Can't Keep Up with Changes, 4. 1013 Plans Can't Keep Up with Changes, 4. Shiyu couldn't deny it and walked towards the duel arena. At this moment, as Shiyu walked to the duel arena in the clothes of an outer sect disciple, the surrounding crowd instantly discussed. Outer sect? What's going on? I heard that if an elder recommends it, the outer sect can also directly participate in the core assessment. It should be a genius pulled over from the family by an elder at the last minute. It depends on his strength. On the high platform, as Shiyu walked out, a plump beautiful woman looked at the short and wretched old man beside her. Elder Lu, the person you recommended. Who? Elder Lu was stunned. At first, he had no impression of Shiyu, but then he remembered that an inner sect disciple with pretty good talent seemed to have recommended someone to him. Contracting an earth dragon of a monarch race definitely had the potential of a master. If it grew normally, it would definitely become a core disciple. I casually recommended it. I don't know its strength either, but it should be pretty good, Elder Lu said casually. That inner sect disciple wouldn't lie to him. Under everyone's gaze, Shiyu had already stepped onto the duel arena. On the other side, an extremely oppressive sword-fang rhinoceros slowly walked out from the beast crowd. It was more than 5 meters long and 2 meters tall. Its body looked very cumbersome, but it also looked extremely strong. It was wearing thick armor-like skin, and there was a sword-like horn on its mouth. In addition to the 2 sword teeth under its mouth, it looked like a 3-blade swordsman. Roar! The metal-like figure roared, and a cold light flickered in its eyes. After the huge sword-teeth rhinoceros was released, it moved towards Shiyu. At this moment, under everyone's gaze, Shiyu also summoned his pet. Hoo tilde. Gusts rose, and the blue light spots quickly connected into a trajectory, forming a huge circular array that looked like a star map. It appeared on the ground. Blue summoning diagram, level 4 beast tamer. This outer sect is indeed not simple. Seeing Shiyu's level, everyone was slightly surprised and revealed as expected expressions. In the next moment, their expressions were even more shocked. Roar! Because the figure that appeared on the summoning array was actually a dragon. It was covered in earth-brown dragon scales, and its impressive and domineering deep grey eyes prostrated on the ground. Its body was even larger than the sword-teeth rhinoceros. The drake of a monarch race, the earth dragon. What's his background? It's fine if it's a monarch race, but it's actually a dragon. Also, duckbill beast? It's not the duckbill quass beast, but the duckbill beast. Wait, there are only 2. Everyone was first shocked by the pets of the monarch race, but when they saw that the second pet Shiyu summoned was only from a transcendent race and that he had only summoned 2 pets, they were quickly extremely puzzled. Roar! Little G was smug. Trash duck, even if it retreated, it looked stronger than it. Ducky, damn ducky. Boom! Before they could be too puzzled, as if it had sensed the threat of the earth dragon, the sword-teeth rhinoceros's movements began to become restless. It roared and its deterrence erupted. Boom! Fortunately, it was only a proficient-level deterrence that had yet to form a monarch aura. Little G and Ducky opposite were not affected at all. After all, they had a medium-level will and an overlord's will. They were not kidding. Roar! At the same time, the sword-teeth rhinoceros directly charged over. Moreover, 2 sword teeth and a sword horn directly flashed with golden-brown light. Seeing this, most disciples opened their mouths wide. They didn't expect this sword-teeth rhinoceros to use the super race skill, triangular heavy sword. Was it the dragon bloodline of that earth dragon that gave it pressure? It's a super skill right from the start. It's not easy for the other party to resist. They don't even have a chance to circle around and find an opportunity. Let's see what beast-taming talent he has. He doesn't look panicked. He definitely has a very powerful beast-taming talent. Everyone judged that Shiyu's only chance of victory was in his beast-taming talent. However, the subsequent development was completely different from what everyone imagined. Shiyu had no intention of activating his beast-taming talent at all. Roar! In the face of the full-strength attack of the monarch race's monarch-level sword-teeth rhinoceros, the huge earth dragon directly collided with it with red eyes. Its body collided with the triangular heavy sword. This scene directly stunned everyone. Did he want to die? A level lower and even withstood super skills with his body. The challengers with holes in their bodies just now were a lesson. However, under the sword teeth rhinoceros's huge strength, everyone discovered in disbelief that the Earth Dragon's physical strength was also terrifyingly strong. Its scales actually only shattered slightly, and fine patterns appeared. It couldn't even be considered a light injury. Roar! Little G roared. Trash, although its energy level was limited by its low level, its physique had long exceeded ordinary commander ranks after being beaten up for so long. Moreover, with the activation of the reverse scale, Little G's physical potential increased further. It's the Earth Dragon super race skill, the reverse scale. This skill strengthened its strength. However, this commander-level Earth Dragon can actually control the crowd control reverse scale state. This scene also made the inner sect elders reveal surprised expressions. There were two ways for the Earth Dragon to control the crowd control's reverse scale. One was the proficiency of the reverse scale, and the other was will. This Earth Dragon's will was probably extraordinary. However, what they didn't know was that Little G was a weirdo. He purely didn't dare to be angry and lose his mind, afraid of being beaten up. The two behemoths collided. In the next moment, with a boom, although it was sent flying with the Earth Dragon's insufficient strength and its huge body was smashed out, the sword teeth rhinoceros was clearly knocked out for a moment. Its body retreated and it was stunned on the spot for a moment. In the next moment, the duckbill beast that had been ignored by everyone moved. It opened its closed palms, and two water blades appeared in its hands. The moment Little G was sent flying, its figure flashed. Who? Water ripples seemed to flow out of the duck's mouth, eyes, and mouth. With its full concentration, it had been waiting for this heart attack for a long time. Its movements were like flowing water as it descended on the monarch-level Earth Dragon's head that was stunned for a moment. Two water blades directly stabbed into the sword teeth rhinoceros's weakness, its eyes. Roar! The water exploded. The sword teeth rhinoceros's huge body retreated again. Its eyes, mouth, and nostrils kept bleeding as it released its skill crazily in pain. Under the threat, the duck stepped on its body and gently retreated, landing on the ground. This attack was an absolute heavy blow to the sword teeth rhinoceros. No one expected that this duck would only use two skills to give an opponent one level higher than it such a fatal blow. It could still concentrate on using the heart strike despite the deterrence. This duckbill beast's battle awareness exceeded everyone's imagination. Quack! Neck! However, everyone realized that Shiyu and the others' continuous skills had yet to end. The duckbill beast retreated. The huge Earth Dragon that was sent flying actually didn't look injured at all. Dust surged, and with bangs, its hands condensed earth blades. It kept running close to the sword teeth rhinoceros and easily dodged its panicked attacks. It directly slashed at its second weakest neck. Because of Ducky's attack, the sword-toothed rhinoceros didn't have the consciousness to use its defense skill at all. Under Little G's slash, everyone saw that the sword-toothed rhinoceros's huge body was directly sent flying by the sword. It fell to the ground and its limbs twitched. Although it still had strength, its weakness had been attacked consecutively, and its brain's consciousness was already blurry. The dragon and duck quietly stuck close to each other and looked at the enemy with great tacit understanding. As for Shiyu, he nodded unsurprisingly. The disciples and elders watching the battle revealed shocked expressions. This guy's battle experience. What was going on? Not only was there no pressure to fight above his level, but he also suppressed the other party. Brother Chen, you're wrong. This guy isn't strong at all. This guy is abnormal. Chen Luo's two friends were shocked when they saw Shiyu's performance. Good. At this moment, after being stunned for a moment, Elder Lu directly laughed and said, "Well fought. It's been a long time since I've seen a beast tamer fight so cleanly among inner sect disciples. You pass. From today onwards, you will also enjoy the nurturing treatment of a core disciple." Elder Lu was completely overjoyed. He didn't expect Chen Luo to push a genius like this guy to him. This Lin Bai seemed to have joined the demon sect for some Diamond River water? To let the duckbill beast evolve? This was easy. As long as he could reach level 5 as soon as possible, it was just Diamond River water. It was easy. Chapter 10-14, 1014 Ducky Evolution. 1014 Ducky Evolution. Brother Lin is mighty. He's simply like a god descending to the mortal world. Shiyu came down from the duel arena. After coming down, everyone looked at him in shock. Chen Luo and the others, who knew Shiyu, opened their mouths slightly and squeezed over. Especially Chen Luo. He knew that Shiyu was very strong, but he didn't expect him to be so ridiculously strong. It's all right, Shiyu replied calmly, thinking to himself that they sure knew how to talk. Although it was an ancient totem country, its words were much better than modern people. If this were those beast tamers in university, they would definitely say F***ck, impressive, awesome, and LMAO tilde again. The current university student beast tamers were really uncultured. This is too clean. Chen Luo still couldn't help but exclaim. He guaranteed that he wouldn't be as smooth as Shiyu when he went up. It's nothing. I just experienced too many battles when I was wandering, Shiyu said. Where should I go next? I should be considered a core disciple now, right? The elders just now seem to have said that he passed. Chen Luo said, when today's assessment ends, an elder will take the initiative to look for you. Brother Lin, don't worry. Why don't we celebrate first in order to congratulate Brother Lin for advancing to the core? I'll definitely do it next time. All the best. I'll wait for the elder to contact him. Shiyu left cleanly, stunning Chen Luo and the others. F***ck, so what if he had advanced to the core? Why was he so reclusive? After completing the core disciple assessment, Shiyu decisively waited. It was almost evening. As expected, Elder Lu, who was in charge of the core assessment, appeared outside Shiyu's residence. Is Lin Bai here? Before he could say anything else, a spirit worm silk suddenly flew out of the room. It entered his body without him noticing. Level 6 beast tamers and inner sect elders were considered relatively core higher-ups. Next, Shiyu planned to use his identity to completely settle down in the demon sect to avoid endless trouble. As for being one level higher, Buggy's influence was not that stable. After Buggy controlled his mind through the Mother Emperor psychic power, this Elder Lu was immediately stunned. Elder Lu, ********, genius, genius. He had to take it in as a disciple. A moment later, not only did Shiyu obtain the clothes and token of a core disciple, but he also became a super genius worth nurturing in Elder Lu's eyes. If it weren't for Buggy constantly affecting his decisions, he would have immediately taken Shiyu in as a personal disciple. With a high-level tool like Elder Lu, Shiyu felt that he should be very comfortable next. In the room, Shiyu held the core disciple token and analyzed it carefully. Inner sect disciples can enter the mystic realm on the mountain and help their pets comprehend sword intent skills. Sword intent skill, to put it bluntly, is a skill similar to deterrence. It's similar to Dragon Might, but the foundation is stronger than deterrence. It can directly wrap around and increase the power of the enhancement skill. Kai Tong has already fused the Phoenix Sword Intent through max-level Sword Dao resistance and deterrence. Learning ordinary sword intent is just icing on the cake. The key is one of the super inheritances of the demon sect, the Nirvana Sword Intent. Before leaving, I have to learn or copy this. After becoming a core disciple of the demon sect, he would have a chance to learn one of the 6 super skills. The Nirvana Sword Intent was one of them, and also the most valuable one. It was a sword intent skill that contained the nature of death. Under the attack of the Nirvana Sword Intent, all life would be severed. However, this skill was very difficult to learn. At the moment, the demon sect only seemed to have 2 transcendent lives who had mastered it. One was the totem guardian of the demon sect, and the other was the trump card sword pet of the current demon sect master. Of these 2, one was a totem-level creature, and the other was a legend-level beast tamer with pretty good strength. It was probably not easy to replicate it without anyone noticing. However, he had to take this skill. Shiyu wanted to replicate it and teach Kai Tong's soul incarnation. It was just nice to reflect the spirit ascending saber given by the boar god, life and death. Although there was also a chance for skills like undead revival to cultivate the death law, it was not a sword-type skill that focused on attack after all. After thinking about it, Shiyu prepared to directly go to the Holy Land to study it when the time came. With Kai Tong's talent and comprehension, what if it directly learned it? But now, from Elder Lu's memories, the most important thing now was to become a level 5 beast tamer quickly. If he couldn't reach level 5 in a month, even if an elder recommended him, it might be very difficult to represent the demon sect to participate in the sword trial. The threshold of the sword trial this time might very well be raised to level 5. In short, when he reached level 5, it would be the true core. During this special period, if he was valued by the elders, it was even possible to directly obtain pretty good resources. Nearly a month later, under Elder Lu's care, Shiyu was like a fish in water in the demon sect. As he was a genius that Elder Lu valued and nurtured, no one came to disturb Shiyu. Shiyu was happy to be free and cultivated Kai Tong in depth. First was Kai Tong's soul incarnation skill, which had been completely upgraded to transcendent by Shiyu. Just like the Super Ally back then, Kai Tong's evolution skill was also very extraordinary this time. Its proficiency was very high. There were a total of 4 clones in the transcendent level soul incarnation. At the moment, these 4 clones began to be cultivated by Shiyu one after another. One swallowed the heart flame and the spirit world fragment and mastered spatial changes, transforming into a spatial sword. One grew with the help of the flame of regeneration and kept comprehending the laws of life, turning into a sword of life. Chapter 10-15, 1015 Ducky Evolution, 2. 1015 Ducky Evolution, 2. The other entered the mystic realm with the help of Shiyu and Elder Lu to comprehend the Nirvana sword intent in the demon sect's mystic realm. Because of Kai Tong's powerful sword Dao talent and the world tree fruit, Shiyu only spent a few days without needing to replicate it. Kai Tong's clone turned into the sword of death and comprehended the Nirvana sword intent. As for the last one, Shiyu had yet to nurture it. It was mainly because he lacked cultivation materials and was waiting for the divine-level meteor iron of the heavenly sword ruins. At the moment, these clones were even stronger than 11's Bin Bear clone with the help of a pile of legendary and even divine-level resources. After more than half a month, Kai Tong's evolution preparations could be said to be completely coming to an end. At the same time, Shiyu was not idle. He replicated a total of 21 sword-type skills that were suitable for Kai Tong and taught them to Kai Tong's various clones and even fusion. As for why it wasn't directly taught to the main body, it was because the nature of the transcendent level soul incarnation was very similar to the fusion of skills. In the end, the stronger the power mastered by the clone, the stronger the new skill that could be awakened during fusion and evolution. For Kai Tong's perfect evolution, Shiyu could be said to have been worried sick. He had never been so prepared for the evolution of other pets. This was also because Kai Tong didn't have a corresponding mind domain, and Shiyu had also promised to evolve it into a stronger one. Therefore, it could only pile up foundation, and resources. Of course, looking at the slender and beautiful Kai Tong practicing swordplay in the ruins every day was also one of the few opportunities for Shiyu to relax during this period of time. In addition, although he had been crazily learning skills recently, Shiyu's own cultivation did not fall behind. His second beast-taming space level had finally reached level 5, master level. It was getting closer and closer to the level of the first beast-taming space. The original Shiyu complained every day that there weren't enough contract slots. Now, the contract slots far exceeded the number of pets around him. Now, without the spatial suppression of levels, Shiyu could finally let Little G and Ducky break through to the monarch level. Lin Bai. At the moment, Elder Lu, who had already become one of his own, completely didn't realize that he had been working crazily for Shiyu for the past month like a nanny. This is the Diamond River and the Demon Flower. When the short Elder Lu heard that Shiyu had reached level 5, he immediately applied for the Duckbill Beast's evolution resource from the sect and ran over to offer it to Shiyu. Let the duckbill beast eat the evil spirit flower and come into contact with the Diamond River. Use the power of the Diamond River to cleanse the power of the evil spirit. If it succeeds, it can evolve into a demon-vanquishing duck. If you fail, it might lose its will and fall into a chaotic state. It might even break free from the contract, so if you want the duckbill beast to evolve, you have to be prepared. Good luck! As long as your duckbill beast completes its evolution, you can contract 2 monarch-level pets of monarch races. Almost 100% of them can represent the demon sect to participate in this sword trial. Thank you, Elder Lu. Shiyu thanked as he took the evolution resource. After Elder Lu left, Shiyu held the Diamond River water and the evil demon flower and fell into deep thought. It was better to let Ducky evolve first. Its skill column was really too pitiful. During this period of time, Shiyu did not forget to nurture Little G and Ducky, but the investment was definitely not as big as Team 1. At the moment, Little G, Ducky, and the others' growth depended on Team 1's experiments. For example, if Baby Ginseng didn't use them as experiments, who would it use as experiments? Therefore, Little G learned the super heavy sword, and Ducky also learned the wave sword. Little G was still alright. It had enough skills. After all, it was an overlord race. Ducky was in trouble. It was only a transcendent race. It only had a total of 4 skills. Intermediate level Water Blade, Heart Strike, Purification, Advanced level, Wave Sword. The other 2 were teaching skills, non-racial skills. He didn't know how many skills the Devouring Abyss Seed could awaken after completely awakening the power of the Abyss, but from the looks of it, its foundation was too weak. Shiyu's first team couldn't be nurtured yet, and he didn't have time to find contracted skills for the second team to fuse with for the time being. Therefore, it was better to evolve additionally now. After all, the more evolutions there were, the stronger the foundation. Demon Vanquishing Duck, the evolution mechanism is to use the power of cleansing to suppress the power of demons. It's quite similar to Ducky's current state. After all, it's also relying on max-level cleansing to suppress the power of the Abyss. I remember that the super skill of the Demon Vanquishing Duck seems to be a skill to counter the power of demons. After learning this, it can be more stable after evolving into an Abyss Demon Duck, in case it goes berserk. Shiyu carried the resources and walked into the room. He entered the ruins and left Buggy standing guard to isolate the spatial fluctuations, in case anyone discovered that he, Shiyu, frequently entered and left other spaces. In the ruins, Ducky held the wave sword and was fighting Little G, who was holding a super heavy sword. It was training its strength and preparing for the sword trial. Roar! I am the king of the earth. Quack! What king? Ducky sent Little G flying with a heart wave sword. At the same time, it was sent flying. Boom! In the dust, the 2 pets were sent flying. Shiyu, who had just arrived inside, happened to appear as Little G flew backward. Helpless, he caught and raised the 10-meter-long small machine with one hand and casually threw it to the side. Bang! Little G, Sigma, degree, underscore. Ducky flying backward, W. As expected, it still couldn't even defeat the Beast Tamer himself. Chapter 1016, 1016 Ducky Evolution, 3. 1016 Ducky Evolution, 3. After the 2 pets stopped fighting, Shiyu said, "The 2 of you prepare. Little G, go to the gravity domain created by Buggy and use the pressure of gravity to break through to the monarch level. Ducky, come here and undergo an evolution breakthrough. The 2 of you don't have to suppress your levels anymore. Break through to the monarch level today." Roar! Quack! Monarch? Little G and Ducky were especially excited. Could he finally break through? Roar! However, evolution breakthrough? Little G looked at Ducky and then at Shiyu. It's the previous Demon Vanquishing Duck. Roar! Then I'll break through first. Little G said. Ducky looked disgusted, not wanting to be looked at by Little G. As for Shiyu, he chuckled and directly handed the bottle of golden diamond river water and the black demon flower in the container to Ducky. Coming, coming, coming. Let me scan the evolution resources first. Ning ning. At the same time, Ducky's big sister, Susu, and Ling, who was in charge of the team's growth plan, also rushed to the scene immediately. Ling was always worried that some unruly people wanted to harm them, so it scanned the resources from the outside world very strictly and seriously. However, Susu shrugged. The evolution process of the demon-vanquishing duck had to eat poison in the first place. Sure. Although the evolution ingredients are a little lousy, it's enough for you, Ling said. Quack hash hash hash. Ducky crushed the container of the evil demon flower with a tragic expression and stuffed the flower into its beak in one bite, chewing randomly. Facing the gazes of a group of people, in the next moment, the demonic power of the demon flower turned into a wave that corroded Ducky's entire body. But before it could come into contact with the Diamond River to resist the demonic power, this demonic power was directly subdued by Ducky's powerful will and rich experience in resisting the abyssal power. Its entire body was wrapped in the demonic power, and Ducky's expression was calm. Quack! That was it? Ling, stop being cheeky. Activate some abyssal power to integrate into the power of the demon and come into contact with the Diamond River. Quack! Upon hearing that, Ducky nodded. In the next moment, it took out an abyss reincarnation bean and swallowed it. At the same time, the duck crushed the bottle containing the Diamond River water. Golden water flowed down its arm and into its entire body. Its cleansing water was also filled with weak power at this moment. In an instant, a monstrous demonic aura first appeared on the duck's body. Then, right on the heels of that, under the light, a holy golden light that was like a Buddha began to go against the demonic aura. Quack! As the duck shouted, the overlord's will erupted, and its energy level rose steadily. 100,000. 200,000. 500,000. 1 million. In the end, the duck's energy level stopped at 2 million. Shiyu was very surprised. Because the demon-vanquishing duck was only a low-level monarch race, and the proficiency of the duck's skill wasn't that high, could its energy level be so high after evolution? It should be the Overlord's resistance, the power of the abyss, and the power of purification that strengthened the evolution effect. Unfortunately, there was only one super skill. However, even so, his demon-vanquishing duck shouldn't be as simple as a low-level monarch race. He felt that it could be evaluated as a quasi-overlord race. Under the golden evolution light, Ducky's body also reached nearly 2 meters tall. The blue skin had already disappeared from its entire body. In its place was a valiant duck form that looked like it was drenched in golden water and had the color of a Vajra Buddha. Quack! The duck King Kong glared, its deterrence and domineering aura revealed. Metal water lingered in its hand, and a pestle-shaped weapon condensed in its hand. Skill, Demon Subduing Pestle. Level, Super. Stats, Water. Introduction: it's a weapon skill that can eliminate various sins and destroy various evil powers. Name: Demon Vanquishing Duck. Stats: Water. Race level: High level Monarch, Quasi-Overlord. Level of growth: Monarch level. Race skill: Intermediate, Water Blade, Transcendent, Heart Strike, Transcendent. Advanced, Heart Sword, Initiate. Super, Demon Vanquishing Pestle, Initiate. Teaching skill: Intermediate, Purification, Dao Proficiency. Advanced, Wave Cannon, Expert, Deterrence, Initiate. Raw: at this moment, Little G sized up the extremely holy duck, whose energy fluctuations looked stronger than it imagined. It was slightly silent. So fierce? As for Susu, it was very gratified that Ducky's demon-vanquishing duck form didn't look so dirty anymore. Nink! It was worth encouraging. Quack! At this moment, Ducky excitedly displayed its strength to Shiyu, Susu, and the others. Apart from the demon-subduing pestle, there was also the heart sword. Skill: Heart Sword. Level, High. Stats, Spirit. Introduction: the saber slashes the body and the heart slashes the soul. The Heart Sword can cut off the 7 emotions and 6 desires of the enemy. Quack! Ducky looked at Little G, indicating that it could assist it in training its reverse scale skill. The Heart Sword could suppress its anger and quickly increase the proficiency of the reverse scale, but the premise was to admit that land was also the territory of the sea. Roar! I'll break through now. Fight after breaking through. Facing the aggressive duck, Little G felt very pressured. Demon Vanquishing Duck, one of the unique pets in the Minghua area. It's a little like Buddhism, Shiyu said. Alright, another Buddhist and demon dual cultivator from the second team. Although its evolution was a little turbulent, Shiyu understood that it should be even smoother after it fused with the power of the Abyss and mastered the Abyss form after seeing Ducky successfully awaken the Heart Sword and Demon Subduing Pestle. At least, it wouldn't be easily lost by the power of the Abyss. Roar, roar, roar. After Ducky evolved and broke through, Little G also ran to the gravity area with high fighting spirit. Damn it, seeing that Ducky was a little extraordinary after its evolution and breakthrough, Little G felt that the pressure of gravity alone might not be enough. It wanted to apply for a purification breakthrough with gravity and magma with Buggy. Duck! Chapter 1017, 1017 Renewable Resource Union appears. 1017 Renewable Resource Union appears. After Ducky evolved and broke through, Little G also followed suit. In an extremely high pressure and high temperature environment, it unearthed its potential to the extreme. After it broke through, its energy level reached 2.5 million, steadily suppressing Ducky. After all, Little G was an Overlord race mechanical phantom beast modified by Ling with the Tyrant Dragon and Earth Dragon fossils. In terms of potential, it definitely exceeded ordinary demon vanquishing ducks. This was also normal. The premise was that Ducky shouldn't take medicine to awaken the power of its previous life. In short, after both parties were done, Little G and Ducky started a new round of battle. Shiyu chose to ignore it. As long as their battle didn't go wrong, it could increase each other. He basically turned a blind eye. Time passed quickly. After learning that Shiyu had broken through, while Shiyu continued to add points to Kai Tong, Elder Lu had already successfully recommended him as one of the beast tamers of the demon sect who represented the demon sect in the sword trial. This time, there were a total of 32 core disciples recommended by the demon sect. They were all above the master level. There was even a young sect master who had reached the legend realm. However, perhaps in the eyes of the demon sect, most of the people were accompanying this junior sect master, so they didn't pay much attention. The value here has almost been drained dry. In the courtyard of the core disciple, Shiyu counted the gains he had replicated here during this period of time and was very satisfied. Now, they were just waiting for the final retraction. A few days later, Shiyu followed the large group of the demon sect and crossed the west of the Heavenly Sword Nation to the Sword God Mountain in the center of the Heavenly Sword Nation. This land was vast and boundless. The mountain was ancient and steep, like a sword that pierced into the sky. As he gradually went deeper, Shiyu could sense that this was definitely an ancient battlefield. Even a wild grass by the roadside had weak sword intent fluctuations, as expected of the holy land of the Heavenly Sword Nation. Chen Luo sighed. In a month, Shiyu didn't know how he broke through to level 5 and obtained a monarch-level pet to represent the demon sect in the competition. However, after careful counting, the beast-taming strength of the totem country was indeed far inferior to the 7 countries. Sword God Mountain is ahead. After arriving at the Holy Land, no one is allowed to act on their own. The leader of the demon sect this time was the legendary sect master of the demon sect, Mo Ling, a cold beautiful woman. It was said that it was born with a sword body and had a rare beast-taming talent strengthened by sword intent. It was adopted by the totem guardian of the demon sect, the Dark Heaven Sword Feather Divine Eagle. After defeating the previous legendary sect master, it successfully succeeded the throne. The so-called demon sect looked impressive and was one of the 2 major factions of the Heavenly Sword Nation. In fact, it was equivalent to doing odd jobs for the totem-level Dark Heaven Sword Feather Divine Eagle. After all, compared to searching for food daily, it was more convenient to have a group of servants prepare it for him. Every month, the sect had to offer a large number of energy crystals to totem creatures. They couldn't miss a meal. Totems like the gem cat and the owl definitely liked this very much. Master, it's someone from the sword sect. Beside Mo Ling, a young man in his 20s with sharp eyebrows and starry eyes suddenly looked at the sky. Several Overlord-level flying dragons were dragging a huge floating palace and also flying in the direction of the Sword God Mountain. Don't worry about them, the higher-ups of the demon sect said calmly when they saw their greatest competitor, the sword sect. Shiyu mixed in the crowd and yawned. It had nothing to do with him. He couldn't wait to enter the ruins anymore. At the same time, he hummed a tune in his heart. Beast taming. Young man. After experiencing hardships and suffering, I endured the long night. Soon, the group from the demon sect arrived at the Sword God Mountain and arrived at their mountaintop. The Sword Trial Conference was a grand event in the Heavenly Sword Nation. Dozens of factions of various sizes gathered, and beast-taming geniuses from all over the country gathered. At the same time, it was also one of the few times when the beast tamers of the Heavenly Sword Nation could worship the current demigod of the Heavenly Sword Nation, the Sword Ghost God. The current demigod of the Heavenly Sword Nation was also an undead life form like the founder of the Heavenly Sword Nation. It could even be said that they were all from the same race and were born from antique swords. In this era where antique swords couldn't become spirits, it could be said that there were fewer and fewer old antiques like them who had survived the old era. After Shiyu and the others arrived at the mountaintop of the demon sect, they looked at the main peak. There was a white-haired old man meditating with his eyes closed. This was the host of the Sword Trial Conference and also the spokesperson of the Sword Ghost God. He was also the only titled legend beast tamer in the Heavenly Sword Nation. During the period when the Sword Ghost God was sleeping, he was in charge of representing all matters. We're all here, right? On various mountain peaks of various sizes, various factions had already gathered. At this moment, as more and more people gathered, the white-haired old man finally opened his eyes. Before the sword trial begins, please, Sword God. Although he was old, his voice was very penetrating, spreading to every tall mountain. Please, Sword God. As he finished speaking, the representatives of the factions, including Sect Master Mo Ling of the Demon Sect, spoke at the same time, regardless of their status. In fact, before Shiyu came, he had also been taught the procedures of the sword trial by Elder Lu. At this moment, he was like a charlatan as he muttered with everyone. Please, Sword God, it was just a sentence. He only wanted the Sword God of the Heavenly Sword Nation to quickly come out and open the door to the mystic realm for him. After arriving, Shiyu let Buggy secretly sense it. He didn't sense any Heavenly Sword ruins. As expected, it wasn't that easy to find a ruin close to the divine level. Chapter 1018, 1018 Renewable Resource, Yunnan appears, 2. 1018 Renewable Resource, Yunnan appears, 2. However, when Buggy reached the totem level and its spatial control reached transcendent, it shouldn't be that difficult. Sword God, hundreds of voices echoed in Sword God Mountain. At the same time, spatial ripples appeared in the sky. Boom! Under a bolt of lightning, as if a sleeping Sword Ghost God had been awakened, the sky immediately darkened. Crack! In midair, a huge spatial crack appeared. Right on the heels of that, a huge spirit body covered in dark red like a demon appeared. At this moment, its body was filled with a monstrous dark aura. Evil streams surged, radiating black light that filled the sky, and its power was incomparably vast. Sword God, the voice was still echoing, but as the spokesperson of the Sword Ghost God, the white-haired old man was clearly stunned when the Sword God appeared. Because he sensed an unusual aura from the other party. It was very different from the previous years. Including the leaders of the other factions, they also sensed the abnormality of the Sword Ghost God, but they didn't care too much. They only thought that the Sword God had broken through again. In the crowd, only one person's pupils suddenly constricted, revealing an extremely incredulous expression as he looked at the sky. This person was Xiaoyu. Because he sensed an extremely familiar Yun Clan aura on the sword ghost god of the heavenly sword nation that he couldn't be wrong. How is this possible? Who is it? Xiaoyu muttered in his heart. With a boom. Under his incredulous gaze, the sword ghost god that should have appeared this time to preside over the sword trial conference and activated the heavenly sword ruins for the geniuses in the sword trial conference directly fell from the spatial ripples. It suddenly fell. It was like a corpse thrown from the sky, turning into a meteor that hit the air and landed with a boom. Bang! The corporeal spirit body of the sword ghost god landed on the ground, causing a huge sound, making everyone present raise their heads in shock, their gazes filled with shock, confusion, and confusion. Looking at the huge body that had fallen in front of him, the spokesperson of the sword ghost god, the white-haired old man, widened his eyes almost instantly. He took a step back and said in an extremely hoarse voice, "No, impossible. This is... Sword God was killed. Alert the entire place." What? Impossible. Lord Sword God, it? At this moment, as the huge body landed, the spokesperson of the sword ghost god let out an unbelievable shout. The beast tamers from all over the heavenly sword nation who participated in the sword conference spoke in disbelief and shock. Swoosh! The beast tamers on the demon sect side instantly looked around as if they were facing a great enemy. A demigod was killed? What a joke! The enemy is in the sky. Countless people looked at the sky. In the sky, after the spatial ripples, black mist spread, and an even larger spatial crack appeared. A terrifying might kept coming from it, shaking the sky and earth. After the sword ghost god's body was thrown down, a huge leg dozens of meters long first stretched out and stepped out. Then, the mountain-like monster descended amidst thunderous laughter. It was a huge ape filled with a dark aura. Its black hair gathered around its face like a demon, and its entire body was filled with an ominous aura. Top-notch totem! Just as they saw this monster, some legend beast tamers present determined that the monster in front of them definitely had the strength of a top-notch totem. It was unbelievably strong. Most beast tamers immediately sent out their pets. Its body trembled as it prepared to fight. But at the same time, they were very puzzled. Although this guy looked very strong, what right did he have to hurt the sword god? And many people were stunned and had frightened expressions, because this wasn't the end. As it appeared, an even more terrifying aura that could crush the sky revealed a trace. Right on the heels of that, a ridiculously huge guy outlined a corner of its figure with a black shadow that covered the sky. This seemed to be a deer-shaped creature. Its huge intertwined horns were like continuous mountains, and its entire body was filled with dazzling black light. Just looking at it, it was as if its heart would sink into the abyss in the next moment. Its body was made of demon statues that danced around like prismatic metals superimposed. On these metals, white and black gradually changed, emitting a terrifying demon god aura that was extremely oppressive. Before the monster completely descended, the two totems sleeping somewhere in the heavenly sword ancient nation opened their eyes and revealed shocked expressions. Demigod! It wasn't just them. At this moment, everyone on the sword god mountain almost fainted and crawled down after a corner of the demon godlike monster's figure was revealed. At that moment, they could only see the huge black pupils and huge horns in the sky. However, it was completely enough. As the spokesperson of the sword ghost god, the white-haired old man had even experienced the strength of the sword god, but at this moment, facing this strange monster, an incomparable fear was born in the white-haired old man's heart. He felt that this monster was much stronger than Lord Sword God. There are quite a lot of people. The huge black ape looked at the surrounding beast tamers and laughed strangely. Supreme Demon God requests to talk. Representative, please come out immediately. I advise you or not to waste time. At this moment, everyone could tell that this huge ape with the strength of a top-notch totem could only be considered the messenger of that dark shadow. Even if they saw their country's sword god fall beside them with their own eyes, this unbelievable pressure made the beast tamers of the Heavenly Sword Nation and even the spokesperson of the Sword God not dare to act rashly. Chapter 10:19 1019 Renewable Resource Union appears, 3. 1019 Renewable Resource Union appears, 3. Without a doubt, the Sword Ghost God was harmed by them. But how was this possible? Without anyone noticing. It made the entire Heavenly Sword Nation not sense any movement. Lord Sword God was also a demigod. At this moment, as the spokesperson of the Sword God, the white-haired old man couldn't help but take a step forward. This step seemed to have exhausted a huge amount of courage. He raised his head and looked at the sky. What have you done to Lord Sword God? Who exactly are you? Oh? The huge black ape looked at the white-haired old man and smiled strangely. That guy isn't dead yet, but it's no different from dead now. As for us, the huge black ape continued to chuckle. I'm a general of the Yun race, the Black Meteorite Divine Ape. As for this Supreme Lord, he's the king of the Yun race, no, the king of the world, Lord Yunan. Apart from that big guy, you're the representative of this country, right? We came this time because we heard that this country has a special meteor iron and specially came to take it away. I hope you can cooperate. You have to know that your Sword God became like this because he didn't cooperate. The black giant ape chuckled. It hoped that these people would be more tactful. Because the king, Yunan, had just woken up, his strength was far inferior to his peak. He urgently needed to replenish his strength. As for the divine-level meteor iron of the Heavenly Sword Nation, it was a treasure that could quickly allow it to recover its strength. Unfortunately, this meteorite iron was sealed in a ruins mystic realm. Although it was easy for a demigod to destroy this ruins mystic realm with the strength of a demigod, restricted by the mechanism of the ruins, if the ruins collapsed, there would also be a risk of destruction for divine-level resources. In order to not destroy the meteorite, the Yun race couldn't attack forcefully. They could only find the demigods of the Heavenly Sword Nation and try to cooperate. Unfortunately, the demigod of the Heavenly Sword Nation didn't give him any face. However, to the surprise of the Yun race, the demigod of the Heavenly Sword Nation was only a dabbler. He relied on the divine-level arms left behind by the previous demigods to have the strength of a demigod. Without possessing the arms, his battle power was ordinary. Moreover, this arms was also made of divine-level meteor iron from outer space. When he saw the food, Yunan naturally didn't hold back and swallowed the meteor iron he could see first. As for the one in the ruins, the Yun clan, who had already figured out the mechanism of the Heavenly Sword ruins, planned to obtain it normally first. If it didn't work, they could only attack and bet. We know that it's very difficult to take out this meteorite normally, but you still have to try, the huge black ape said. Everyone present, go in and try one by one. If necessary, we will also help you strengthen your strength. If you can succeed and obtain the meteor iron and offer it, your Majesty will naturally reward you. And if all of them fail, it's a pity that there's no need for this ruin and this country to exist. Not only will we directly destroy the Heavenly Sword ruins, but we'll also completely sink this country into the sea. Then, do you want to cooperate? Time is tight. Who wants to go first? Brother Lin? It's over. At this moment, under the deterrence of a demigod and a top-notch totem, most beast tamers had already peed their pants in fright. They never expected that what happened today would be so strange. Firstly, the National Guardian was killed. Secondly, an even stronger external enemy targeted the treasure in the Heavenly Sword ruins and forced the beast tamers present to crack and take it. If no one could take it out, they would forcefully destroy the Heavenly Sword ruins and destroy the Heavenly Sword Nation. Everyone trembled. They didn't doubt at all that the two huge monsters in front of them had such strength. However, how could that meteorite be taken out normally? Even Sword God couldn't take it out normally. At this moment, the beast tamers of the Heavenly Sword Ancient Nation panicked. However, among everyone, the one with the most complicated emotions was definitely not the beast tamer of the Heavenly Sword Nation. Instead, it was Shiyu who finally saw Yunan with his own eyes. He couldn't help but tremble in excitement. Damn! After searching for Yunnan for so long, he finally found it. It looked like Yunnan had revived in the end and escaped Dong Huang's vision. What shocked Shiyu the most was that he didn't expect Yunnan to have such strength just after reviving. He was considered an expert even among demigods. Shiyu didn't expect it at all. At this moment, the pressure this Yunnan gave him was even higher than the demigods of all the totem clans in Inatella. Was this the super general sent by the Abyss evil god race to Blue Planet? As expected, it was not something ordinary demigods could compare to. The Yun race has targeted the meteor iron of the Heavenly Sword ruins? That's true. After all, Yunnan is also formed from meteor iron from outer space. This resource might also be extremely important to it. Mother K. At this moment, Shiyu didn't know what to feel. Lady Luck Ling, was this considered unlucky or lucky? He was finally lucky to have encountered the renewable resource, Yunnan. However, the risk of taking away the divine-level meteor iron looked even greater. But we can't let it succeed. Otherwise, who knows what will happen? It will definitely be harder to deal with. Shiyu suppressed the light in his eyes. He never expected that he would encounter so much nonsense on his trip to the Heavenly Sword Nation. His plans couldn't keep up with the changes. In the beginning, the plan was fine, but it was all in chaos. At this point, Shiyu, who originally thought that he could handle this trip, could only use his big move. He took a deep breath. Senior Divine Source, save me. Dragon God, save me. President Lin, save me. Sister Elven Empress, save me. Sister Valkyrie is fine too. Shiyu immediately wanted to send news to Dong Huang through the Intelligence Bureau Index through special channels. Seek external help. However, in the next moment, Ling's nervous voice sounded in Shiyu's heart. Master, don't. Now that the entire Heavenly Sword Nation is blocked by a special power, not only might the signal of the index not be transmitted, but it's very likely to be intercepted and discovered. Although the Yun clan looks high profile this time, the preparations might be very sufficient. Even in the face of a remote country in seclusion, they don't want to expose their traces themselves. Shiyu? It meant that there were no reinforcements. Then what the hell? Shiyu's mood kept changing. He flipped through his trump cards at a speed of 100 times per second. Wait a minute, the power of the Blue Sea ruins didn't seem to be blocked. Fortunately, as long as he could slip away. Chapter 1020 Emperor Wu appears. 1020 Emperor Wu appears. The deterrence of Yunnan and the Black Ape enveloped the entire Sword God Mountain, making everyone not dare to act rashly. Even Shiyu could only wait and see, analyzing what to do next. The Blue Sea ruins was his ultimate escape method. However, the spatial changes caused during the escape process would definitely be sensed by Yunnan and alert the enemy. There was a high chance that it would obstruct it. That didn't matter. Although their strength was not enough to resist demigod-level battle power, Shiyu still had the Dragon God protection, so he was not afraid of demigod-level interceptions. Moreover, they weren't pushovers themselves. It shouldn't be a problem for them to successfully leave the battle. This period of time was enough for the teleportation to succeed. However, leaving directly would definitely alert Yunnan. He could forget about the divine-level meteor iron. It would definitely immediately destroy the ruins. With Yunnan's careful appearance, after discovering the clues, he definitely wouldn't stay here for long. It was not easy for the Dong Huang army to successfully capture it. Forget it. After considering for a long time, Shiyu felt that it was not appropriate to fight Yunnan for the time being. This guy wasn't weak. It might be the strongest demigod he had seen apart from the World Tree. It was completely not as weak as Dong Huang, him, Ji Mengzhu, and the others had expected at the start. Even the demigod of the Heavenly Sword Nation died in the other party's hands. Now, Shiyu began to be puzzled. How exactly did Emperor Wu, who had yet to master a quasi-divine skill, suppress Yunnan? In short, it wasn't worth it to forcefully fight Yunnan in this state for the evolution materials of the demon god iron-eating beast. The price would be especially high. Since he knew that Yunnan had revived, it was better to wait for the world tree to awaken and wait for Susu to develop. He would let the two demigods of the strongest tier join forces. This way, he could steadily suppress Yunnan. Moreover, he didn't have to pay a huge price. After analyzing with Ling, Shiyu's goal quickly became clear. He couldn't leave directly. This was equivalent to giving up on the divine level metal. After obtaining the divine level metal, he would teleport away from this place. Wanting to ask him for Ruin's resources? No way. Although this way, Yunnan would intercept him even more intensely. After preparing for so long, Shiyu would definitely not be willing to let this silly Yunnan snatch away the resources. After successfully leaving, he would make Dong Huang and even the 7 countries prepare for battle. After all, the Yun race was not only Dong Huang's enemy, but also the enemy of the entire Blue Planet. Shiyu retreated slightly behind everyone. It was already determined to compete with Yunnan for the ownership of the Divine Iron. Sai, after returning to the country, he would definitely be scolded again. At the same time, the Black Ape said calmly, "After getting the meteorite, we'll leave. Perhaps your sword god can still be saved. But if you delay too much time, the outcome won't be something you can withstand." Who? It looked at the white-haired old man questioningly. Boom! As it finished speaking, a purple-red light flashed in Yunnan's eyes. In the next moment, a huge energy storm appeared around it. In the storm, space distorted. In the distorted space, the sky darkened, and the sky directly turned purple-red. Moreover, a sword tower that was like a heavenly sword and 1,000 meters tall appeared in the outside world like a projection. Heavenly Sword Ruins. Seeing this heavenly sword, many beast tamers who had entered the heavenly sword ruins were shocked. In the past, only the sword god could summon and find the heavenly sword ruins, but now, this creature who called itself Yunnan had also directly done it. Its power was undoubtedly above the power of the ruins. Everyone, seeing this scene, the expression of the white-haired old man changed. He knew that the situation was completely irreversible. If he didn't follow the requirements of this Yun race, the white-haired old man had a feeling that the Heavenly Sword Nation would really be destroyed because of this. At this point, for the sake of the Heavenly Sword Nation, I beg everyone to try challenging the Heavenly Sword Ruins. Next, regardless of sect, family, background, or level, you can try to enter the Heavenly Sword Ruins to challenge the level. He looked at the sword ghost god that shouldn't be considered dead. He only hoped that as time passed, the sword ghost god could recover from this state. Everyone was silent. That's more like it. The Black Ape smiled. In addition, we know that the chances of you obtaining the Divine Iron are not high. Therefore, I specially prepared a gift for you. Space cracked. A few black metal swords landed. It said, "This ruin can allow weapons, right? These arms are all replicas of your sword god's weapons and have been modified. Anyone who can reach the 6th level and above can take away an arms and try to challenge the level again. It can increase your battle talent potential to a greater extent." Hee. Let me think. Those who have reached the legend level might as well come over and choose an arms to adapt to in advance. After all, you guys are the main force to crack the ruins. The few legend beast tamers present looked at the longsword filled with a black aura, their expressions constantly changing. They all knew very well that this might be a demon sword with a huge price. Then, under the pressure of life and death, beast tamers entered the Heavenly Sword Ruins one after another. The Heavenly Sword Ruins was not the same space as the outside world. The people who entered seemed to have left this place. Seeing that Yunnan didn't have the ability to half-fuse the Heavenly Sword Ruins into the outside world, Shiyu heaved a sigh of relief.